Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in, Brett Off. He is headed Oxford way, I think tomorrow for sure, to just do our real research and development, not necessarily like mine on a golf course, but he's going to hunker down with the Ole Miss Rebels. He'll be back next week. Gabe's sitting in, Bryant Dacus on the dials, and we have, ladies and gentlemen, officially now an alliance. How official? I'm really not sure because there is no binding agreement. They all said, the three commissioners of the Pac-10, the Big Ten, and the ACC, they said they looked each other in the eye, shook hands, and that was all it took. I don't know if that'll hold up in court. We shall see. And basically, the purpose, and this is their words, not mine. The purpose is to focus on governance, student-athlete welfare, and ensuring the collegiate model continues. So this sounds to me like this alliance is the new NCAA minus the SEC. They said there would be no boycotting of SEC because there will be some scheduling for football and men's and women's basketball, more interconference games. You may see basically all these schools go to only 8 conference games so they can play each other more. I don't think they're including the SEC per se in the deal, but they're not boycotting the SEC. They have like another wink of the eye and a shake of the hand. They're not going to rob each other. Of course, that doesn't include the SEC either. They also want to get on the same page for the college football playoffs expansion. However, they're already not on the same page because the ACC commissioner wants to slow down, whereas both the Big Ten and the Pac-12 conferences are saying, no, we like what that committee did. So there's not exactly total alignment there. And that, for the most part, is what this alliance is all about. And really, to schedule all these new interconference special games between the three leagues, that might not even occur until the mid-20s because of so many games already contracted for television as it is.
And they're not keeping people from aligning and doing the people within the alliance, the schools within the alliance are not being forced to just schedule non-conference games with guys, with other teams within the alliance, so they can go schedule SEC teams. They can schedule Conference USA teams. They can schedule AAC teams. So I'm really it doesn't seem like much to me. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there.
Well, I said this yesterday, and I said this at St. Louis Church Men's Club when I spoke. I really believe this alliance is basically a message to the SEC. Stay away from our teams because we're going to be bonding together, and we can do our thing. And if you're going to be a rebel, then we'll figure out a way to do business without you. And you might get 16. Well, you already got that. You might get 20 teams. But you're going to need us, so you better play by some of our rules. That's what I think this is all about.
Is it that strong of a message, though, if you don't have it in writing, if scheduling for the main sports can't be done for the main sport, for football can't be done for 7+ years? Is it that strong of a message?
Well, I think it's as strong a message as they really cared to send, because I don't think in the long run they want to exclude the SEC, but the message is we could do this. If you're going to continue to play outside what we think is collegiate model, then, and they use that word, they want the collegiate model to continue. If you are planning on doing that, you're not going to get any cooperation from us. I think that's what, in my mind, that is what this is all about.
Right. Until the SEC tries to attract some of their member institutions.
Well,
in which case, does this power structure mean a thing?
It might not.
We will see. Obviously, this is a wait and see thing. The years to come, see if it matters. But the fact that there's nothing in writing, the fact that the scheduling for the main sports is not going to change for the next 7+ years. It just doesn't seem
Well,
like that strong of a message.
I think it's after 26 they could do it. So you're really talking 5 years. And frankly, they could make some deals before that. But
Right.
again, and I've said this is all posturing.
Yes.
This was ESPN and the SEC wanting to start a bigger college football playoff. This is also a message, I think, to ESPN, too, because they actually have said within this story that we'd like to open up the bargaining for these rights fees to the playoffs. They're a valuable commodity, and we may want more than one partner than ESPN. It's our product. Why should ESPN control our product?
A lot of questions, not a lot of answers still with this. It's pure posturing, and I am not convinced at this moment, Dave, that it's good posturing.
I don't know if, I thought the college football playoff expansion was good.
Yes, of course.
I think the next thing that occurred, which is the SEC getting together with Texas and Oklahoma, whoever started that, I thought that was good for the SEC. I was never sure that was good for college football.
For the Big 12 in particular. Terrible.
It was terrible for the Big 12 because literally, according to what I read today, the value of their television rights without Texas and Oklahoma was cut in half. 50% of what it once was. And that includes having teams like Kansas still in there that are big for basketball and have the Kansas City market. That includes owning the state of West Virginia, whatever that means. I don't know. It's not a big TV marketplace.
No.
But it's a state school. TCU owns Fort Worth. I mean, so there are still some valuable properties. I think Baylor's a valuable property. They're the defending national champions in basketball. I think it's a fairly big marketplace, and it brings in people from Houston and Texas. They have alumni bases there, but it's 50% of what it was with Texas and Oklahoma.
I think one of the interesting things from Jim Phillips today, obviously he led off the presser.
And he's the ACC commissioner.
Yeah, ACC commissioner. He said, we want and need the Big 12 to be well. The Big 12 matters in college athletics. This group will do everything it can to make sure college athletics looks similar to what it is today.
Yeah.
But can they save the Big 12?
Well, to me, that was interesting. It came from the ACC commissioner. I would love to have heard from the new Pac-12 commissioner because if you'll recall, Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, reached out to that Pac-12 and that commissioner.
George Kliavkoff, the new one.
Yeah. Is that how you pronounce that? I saw that name. I'm not sure. I know he's a TV executive who was brought on board, and he was
Kliav. So
Kliavkoff. Kliavkoff, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But you did well with that pronunciation to begin with.
tried.
You should have just let that go. You didn't have to come back and try to.
Well, you brought it up.
I said I wasn't sure. Kliavkoff. So Bowlesby called him. And you notice they did an alliance, which is exactly what Bowlesby wanted, but it wasn't with Bowlesby.
Yeah.
And in that Phillips quote you were just talking about, he goes, oh, yeah, well, the Big 12, that's important to us. But there was no inclusion of anything with the Big 12 or, for that matter, the American Athletic Conference.
Nope, there wasn't. And
there certainly is no guarantee of any kind in writing.
None.
Or even in words where they said no one is going to raid anybody else.
I'm imagining they met for a happy hour at Applebee's, all three of these commissioners. And they sat down, they had half-price appetizers, a couple drinks.
No.
Conversated.
These guys don't go to Applebee's.
Needed to posture
they
against the SEC.
They would have gone to Roost Chris, and they would have had high-dollar stuff.
No Ruby Tuesday? Why not
No.
Ruby Tuesday? Come on.
No half price. They're going for the big deal here.
Hey, everybody wants to save money, Dave.
Not when it's on somebody else's ticket. And that's what's going on here. So, the alliance is the big story of the day, and we'll be talking about that a lot. We'll be talking about that at 4 o'clock with Brent Beard. We are still on Imani Bates' watch.
And really quick, we just got some news dropped
On Bates? Is this on a crystal ball?
No, this is no crystal ball. This is Travis Branham. He is the national basketball analyst for 247 Sports. He's saying that Imani Bates is expected to make his announcement tomorrow between Oregon, Memphis, Michigan State, and the G League. So Imani Bates' decision will be tomorrow. Which, if I'm reading through it, late registration is on Thursday for Memphis. That sounds like good news that he'd be announcing.
I just read somewhere, where was this? Another recruiting service that gave the 7th crystal ball to Memphis for, it's called Heat Check.
Yeah.
Imani Bates has picked up a 7th crystal ball prediction for Memphis. This is, have you ever heard of Heat Check hoops?
I'm not familiar with Heat Check.
7 crystal balls. And the word now is
sure, tomorrow, they do good work.
Tomorrow is the day.
Yes, tomorrow is the day, according to 247 Sports.
Okay. I learned something today, too. I never heard this before. So do you know what a group of tigers is called? Like if it's a group of wolves, it's a pack.
Yes.
Right? What would be a group of tigers?
Not a pack?
Nope.
A pack of tigers.
Never knew this until today, and it comes with some news.
Okay. I have no guesses for you.
Did I ambush you with that? Because that's what a tiger grouping is called. An ambush.
What?
This is according to the University of Memphis, which has now
hold up.
Which has now established a new name for the student sections at the various venues, including the Liberty Ball on September the 4th against Nicholls State. Those sections will be called an ambush, named after a group of tigers, which I never knew.
An ambush
until
of tigers?
Today. Yeah.
An ambush of tigers.
I did not Google to see if that's correct, but I'm assuming that the university
we'll take their word for it.
That. I mean, that is the school, baby.
I always thought ambush was a verb, meaning to.
I did too, meaning like I just.
Yeah.
Like I ambushed you.
Yes.
But I didn't. I was just trying to tell you.
Sneak attack.
Yeah.
An ambush.
Yeah.
I'll take their word for it.
I will too. I think that's kind of cool, though.
An ambush? So it's going to be the...
So if you're a student like Bryant, thank you, here, you could go, hey, meet me at the ambush.
It's a whole section.
They're going to have T-shirts and I guess all kinds of incentives to come and be a part of the student section. I love it. They should be doing that. I've always thought that the group that does get together that used to sit by the band and stuff, that was a really spirited group. And the Blue Crew at FedEx Forum, that was a really good spirited group, especially in the John Calipari days. And we can get that back.
Gotten better in past years, too.
No doubt.
I think it's improved.
So we're going to talk, now that we got this news on Imani Bates, we're going to talk with Jason Munz, Commercial Appeal beat writer, who was the one that broke the story on the email address yesterday. Then Bo Marchant on the National Football League. There's all kinds of National Football League news that is going on all across the league, and as I don't think I mentioned, but at 3:30 in just a little bit after we do top and not top story and things of that nature, Mike Keith, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, is going to join us. He had a little scare today because there is Mike Vrabel is not going to be able to coach against the Bears because there has been some amounts of COVID contact within
the organization.
Within the organization of the Titans. So he had to be cleared today so that he could do the game and actually do this show, even though it would be over the phone. So Mike Keith's going to join us at 3:30. So we got Mike Keith, Brent Beard, Jason Munz, Bo Marchant. We've got a lot going. We've already learned a lot. The Alliance doesn't have anything in concrete, and an ambush is a group of tigers. Wow. You never know when you wake up what you will learn that day. What new news can you impart upon us? Wait, we'll do that right now with the top story of the day.
Not top story of the day.
No, this is the
Top story of the day.
There it is.
Brian Dacus, were you ambushed somewhere?
I might have been
lines?
ambushed.
My
I can't read
gosh.
today. Ooh.
It's okay. I couldn't say within, so I get you. I think the story of the day is kudos to the Tigers. And I'm not talking Memphis Tigers. And I'm not talking ambush here. I'm talking the Bengal Cats. I'm talking the LSU Tigers. Because they today, their administration became the first university to say, you want to come to our games? You got to show proof of vaccine, or you got to show a negative test of COVID within
Well done.
I guess a 24-hour period.
And Louisiana is one of the least vaccinated states.
I applaud them. I think it's fantastic. I would love for these Tigers to adopt the same thing. Let's keep everybody safe. You want to come to the game? So a little bit of a reward. Come to the game, but you got to be vaccinated. Perfect. Thank you, LSU.
My question becomes, with the lower level schools, can they afford that? For certain fans not to be there every Saturday. That's my only question. I wish that my wishful thinking, my hopeful thinking would be that everybody could go ahead and do that.
It doesn't cost you anything to get a shot.
But I'm talking about for fans that do not want to get vaccinated, not showing up to the games, not buying tickets. I wonder if certain schools wouldn't want to take that risk. And that's what I'm thinking.
There may be some. I really don't know. How expensive is a test?
$10, $15 for a PCR. Nothing crazy.
Is that a rapid test?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I
take
would,
that chance.
You'll
take that chance.
I would say you get a $10 discount on your ticket.
I hear you. But my top story of the day, and we'll obviously I think the Alliance is a massive story, and I'll discuss that, and we'll discuss that deeper as the show rolls on. But Imani Bates, number 5 overall prospect in the 2021 class, got reclassified, and he's making his announcement tomorrow. Oregon, Memphis, Michigan State of the G League. A lot of people we just mentioned are picking Memphis.
7 crystal balls.
We saw the email address saga yesterday. We'll talk to Jason Munz about that later. But I think this is good news that he's announcing tomorrow for the University of Memphis, considering their late registration date is Thursday.
Yes.
He's announcing on Wednesday, the day before, and that's been the question.
Yeah,
when will he announce? Will he be able to get into school in time? Whatever.
Let me ask you this question. You recruiting expert gurus that live on these websites. I'm not referring necessarily to you, Gabe, or to you, Brian, but if you are, that's cool. Has there ever been 7 crystal balls that were all wrong? Has there ever been a time where somebody got 7 crystal balls for one school and it was not right?
Not that I know of off the top of my head. Not that I know of.
Anybody knows? First Bank, AutoZone text line at 901-360-8255. 901-360-8255, the AutoZone text line. I don't think it's ever been where you got 7 crystal balls and they were all wrong.
Be a lot of people being led astray. Let's just say. That's true.
Not top story of the day.
So the Buffalo Bills have lost 3 players for this next football game they've got. Could you imagine if this were the regular season? And you're talking about wide receivers Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis and their defensive tackle, Star Lutalele. I always want to say, what's our guy? Odalele?
Oh, yeah. Defensive end.
They're cousins, you know. Lutalele.
I don't think so.
One plays the lute, the other plays the ukulele. No. So that defensive tackle, Lutalele, they had close contact to a trainer. He ended up having a positive COVID test. These guys don't even have positive COVID tests. But because of the NFL's protocol, close contact, even though you're negative, if you haven't taken the vaccine, 5-day quarantine. So they can't be with the team for 5 days. They can't play in the next game, and it's all because they haven't gotten the shot.
Similar to the Cam Newton situation.
Similar.
5 days off.
Exactly.
And Cole Beasley, I've been tired of his whole shtick this entire offseason, though. I think he's one of the guys who actually was sent home as well. I'm fine with seeing that. I wonder if he'll write another diss track with his 5 days off.
Here's my deal, though. I mean, I hear you on Beasley. How about Ludulele? Ludulele opted out last year.
Right.
So he was so worried about COVID, he opts out, and yet he won't take the vaccine, and now he's missing a game, even though he's negative. But come on. If you were that worried, wouldn't you have taken the vaccine? You opted out. You were so concerned.
And the third guy, who they will need for wide receiver depth, Gabriel Davis out of UCF.
Yeah.
Got to watch him play in college.
Fast as
they need to figure it out.
Fast as can be. Not quite as fast as Bob Hayes, by the way. You guys in your discussion.
Bullet Bob Hayes.
No idea who Bullet.
Well, this is why I talk to you, Dave.
This is
you
why
let me know
I'm
the
here.
historical significance of things. You let me know. You lead me in the right direction.
There's a little generational thing going on here.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
That's why I'm trying to pass it on to you. That is my new chore in life.
Mine
and Stats. Our chore is to pass it on to youngsters like you and Brian Dacus.
And we're here for it. We're here for it.
I'm just so happy that you are. What is your
My not top story of the day is the Bears. Your Bears.
What is this?
Matt Nagy.
Every day
he is
you're going after my Bears.
Officially named. But this is official now. He's named Andy Dalton the starter for week 1, and he will not play in preseason week 3.
You basically gave him that advice yesterday. You can't be. How can that be the not top story when you said yesterday that that's what he should do? Andy Dalton should start the first 2 games.
Look, listen. I don't want to hear it, Brian. Don't even turn on the mic.
Let him get beaten up. That was the words that you said. Are you now changing your mind?
I just find it funny. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree with the decision.
Did you find it funny when you said it?
I think it is not the top story that Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
I think
for the 2021 season, Dave. I'm sorry if I find it funny.
I think to be more descriptive, Gabe, that could be the sad story of the day. But it's funny because you said exactly what he's doing, and now you're dissing it. Can you find him from yesterday?
I will
so
work
that
on that, yes.
we can play that again to him?
Oh, I know what I said. I know exactly what I said. I'm not saying I disagree with his decision. Not top story of the day doesn't mean that I disagree with his decision.
Who, by the way, since in just for future reference,
okay.
I don't want you to be like Brett Norsworthy, who picks the team that's winning all of a sudden, and that's his team. You grew up in St. Louis. Are you a Rams fan?
No.
Are you a Cardinals fan?
I am not a fan of any NFL team in particular. I love the NFL, though.
Okay. I just want to be sure.
Rams, it's hard to be if you were a St. Louis Rams fan, the whole situation, sending him back to L.A.,
it's a hard deal for any NFL fan in St. Louis because the Cardinals left you.
Yeah.
You know where you got the Cardinals from, don't you?
Where did we get the Cardinals from?
You got the Cardinals from Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
They were an AFL team.
Okay.
In Chicago. Up against the Bears. That played in Comiskey Park.
But then the whole way it broke down with Stan Kroenke and everything else.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was tough. It's very tough.
It really was awful. And those are your top and your not top stories. We will take a quick time out here when we come back. The voice of the Titans. That would be Mike Keith. He comes your way in just 1 minute.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy take you through lunch from 10 to 1 weekdays. Only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello. It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms, in stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together. RS Financial Group and Orion Federal Credit Union present the 2021 World Championship Hot Wing Contest, August 28th at Tiger Lane, featuring the South Hall Cafe's World Wing Series. Earn a spot to compete for $25,000. Go to worldwingfest.com. August 28th, mark the date for the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival at Tiger Lane. Live bands, $10,000 in cash prizes, presented by Orion Federal Credit Union, RS Financial Group, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities of Memphis. Go to worldwingfest.com.
Mid-South, the time is now to trade up to a Kia sales event at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. You want to ride with 41 MPG Highway? We Gossett 2021 Kia Rio $249 a month. You want 0% at $282 a month? We Gossett with 2021 Kia Forte. And all-weather rugged 2022 Kia Seltos $332 a month. Plus peace of mind with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Trade up and get top dollar at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars. All $29.99 due at signing. Rio ME 418 570 60 at 0.9% APR. MSRP 17.2. Forte ME 393 458 60 at 0%. MSRP 19,940. Celtos N 724 9948 66 at 1.9%. MSRP 23,910. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only. Must finance through Kia on APR offer.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity August sales event. Great offers on all 2021 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wollo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Brett off, Gabe Kuhn filling in, and we are sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. And a reminder, and I need to call Billy or I need to call Lindsay to find out exactly how much of this new stuff is coming in. It's amazing. Great pricing on all the new incoming fall stock, and they've laid it out. If they've done it like they did for the spring and the summer, it's just gorgeous inside at I-40 and Wooden Road. Play gyms still in stock, and believe me, they've got guys who will install it. You want to see kids' eyes sort of get really big and happy. It's when they see those play gyms, and I always say my eyes get bigger and happier when I see somebody else is going to put it together the right way. Let the pros do that. There are some markdowns still on game room products like air hockey and things of that kind, pool tables. Oh, the massage chairs, those are going fast. And reserve your hot tub before it gets cold, because the prices seem to go up when the weather gets a little bit colder. Get in now. Just get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Mike Keith joins us now. You know Mike, the longtime voice of the Tennessee Titans. And so I'm a little worried about you, Mike. I mean, there's COVID, it seems. You're head football coach Mike Vrabel is not able to coach against the mighty Chicago Bears here this coming weekend. And there's been really around the league. We saw today with Buffalo and a trainer there. On a serious note, how is everybody in Nashville and in the Titans locker room? Good afternoon.
Well, we've added 2 players to the COVID-19 list. And so Jeremy McNichols and Nick DeZubnar, Jeremy McNichols a running back, DeZubnar a linebacker. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have COVID. That just means they're, potentially exposed in a way that they have to be isolated at this point according to where they are in terms of vaccination. And It is different for players who are vaccinated and for those who are not. But the Vrabel thing, and Frank Reich had it and with the Indianapolis Colts, and I think that caught a lot of people's attention. But when Mike came on his media conference on Sunday and announced that he was COVID positive, it certainly took everybody aback because you're just, these breakthrough cases, people who have been vaccinated and are getting this Delta variant in this way, it's scary because you feel like you've been doing everything right. You let your guard down a little because we think, okay, we're vaccinated, we're in a better place. And now this thing starts hitting. The good news is Mike Vrabel is not horribly ill. He doesn't feel well, but he's not sick like some of the people sadly have been with COVID-19. But it's still, it knocks you down. It causes you to have to go into a different place. And unless he gets 2 negative tests back to back before Saturday, you're right. He's not going to coach. So very disappointing.
I'm this is an assumption, and maybe I shouldn't say it because I don't know if he's given us the information, but he's not terribly ill because I think he took the vaccine. Is that
correct?
Fair? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
correct.
And we're seeing. I mean, this is crazy, but in the case of the guys, Beasley, Davis, Lutalele, those guys are negative. They came in contact with the trainer who is positive, but because they did not take the vaccine, they still have to go to quarantine. So they're
5 days.
There's a message here. And you said to me when we were talking today earlier, I didn't realize this, the NFL doctor is in Nashville, in Franklin, Tennessee. So, and
correct.
He's part of the group that made the protocols that came up with this stuff, right?
Well, he's the chief medical officer.
Yeah.
He made the protocols. His name is Dr. Alan Sills, and Dr. Sills is a doctor at Vanderbilt, but he lives in Williamson County, and our kids went to school together, and I had an occasion to visit with him about 3 weeks ago again for a long period of time. And, Dr. Sills has been someone that's been very important because both the players and the coaches trust him. Dr. Sills is the gentleman that got up 3 years ago at an NFL meeting and said, listen, we've got to do something different with the tackling. We've got to do something different with the lowering of the head. And he went through all this data, and Dr. Sills is he's from Mississippi. He is a guy who's been around athletic teams his whole life. His son pitches for Lipscomb University. He's a guy who loves sports. So this is not somebody who would be that people say, oh, he hates football. You get that all the time. But
right.
No, he loves football. He loves football. But he got up in front of NFL coaches and general managers and said, listen, we've got to do something different to change the game, and they have changed the game. Concussions are way down, and tackling is being taught differently now, not just in the pro game, in the college game, the high school game, very important stuff. So what he has said to the players and the coaches and the general managers and the owners about COVID has been taken with big credibility because he wins on both sides. He's not just seen as the owner's guy. He's seen as a guy who really cares about players and player health. And while every player and every coach certainly does not agree with him, he made it very clear last fall when we were going through all of this that he was going to ride into 2021 on a vaccine, that the vaccine was going to be the most important part of his protocol when it became available. And he's been very consistent with that, which is why the league has worked with the Players Association to push players so hard to get the vaccine. He said it's safe. It's the best deterrent that we have for people getting really, really sick, and it's the best deterrent that we have for spread. And he was saying that before the vaccine was even available, as he was really in the front ends of knowing what that testing was going to be like, which is why he put his faith and his stock in it. And
I think we lost him.
Man, and he was on a roll.
Yeah,
and making a lot of sense. Did you know, seriously, that the NFL team doctors from Nashville?
I did not know that, but I honestly, and I agree with his sentiment, he's done a good job. Dr. Alan Sills has done a great job.
Really has.
Since taking over that position. And there's so many things with football that have to be worked through.
Oh, and
what he's done through the vaccination process, through this COVID-19 pandemic, and trying to get all of the players on a united front, punishing the players who are not getting vaccinated, I appreciate it. I really do. And I think the NFL, the largest entity in sports in this country, to get on a vaccination, a pro-vaccination level is the way to go.
Hey, look, his protocols will work, and that's the key thing to it all. Mike Keith just joined us now. I think it was an anti-vaxxer that knocked you off. I did want to ask you this before, and we will get into the Titans here. It was I haven't seen the case number for today or yesterday, but I know that over the weekend it was 1,000 a day for 2 days. 2,000 was the one-day record in Shelby County for the most new cases ever since the pandemic began. Rudy Gobert, March 2020.
Right.
So what's going on around Nashville, Williamson County? What are your numbers like? What is your 45%, I think, is the vaccination rate here. So it's behind the country. What is it like where you are?
I don't know what the number is. I mean, it's not been as high as people have wanted it to be, who have been trying to get the message across. The numbers in terms of the caseload are up.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, we're seeing it. The Lebanon city schools have canceled classes for the rest of the week because of the spread and the fact that, you know, they don't have the ability to go virtual this year, so they're using some of their snow days at this point to try and prevent some of the spread. But, you know, it's just that the numbers statewide and nationwide are much higher than anybody would want them to be. We were in Florida. The tough thing for us is we were in Florida all of last week, and I'm not saying anything about the state of Florida. I'm saying we were together as a group in Tampa for 5 days on buses, at practice. You know, we did not take meals with the team or anything, but riding elevators, things of that sort.
Did you fly with the team? Were you able to get on the charter? Okay,
we did.
Great.
Yeah, we're back. We're back to the part last year after having flown commercially. We're back to the part about flying on the team with the team at this point, and so you know, it's just those sorts of things. We're going to have to go back to some of the things we've done in the past with the masking and the distancing, and I just think that's where we are right now, unfortunately, and in terms of our day-to-day.
Has the Titans vaccination status been revealed by anybody, or is that something that's been kept relatively close to the vest?
The last time it was, we were well over 90%.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know what the exact
in line
number
with
was.
with the NFL's.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe Ryan Silverfield said what was it, 84, 85%.
Hoping to get to that.
And
that's where the colleges were. Most of the colleges that I have seen listed were roughly 80 to 85%.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but you know,
a
lot of the SEC schools and folks of the like.
Did you see today that LSU has deemed a mandate that you are either vaccinated and proof of vaccination or that you have to show a negative COVID test in order to be a fan in Baton Rouge this fall.
I did see that.
Do you foresee that could be a policy for the Titans, or I wonder if that could be a policy for the University of Memphis in the long run?
I don't have any. That's a great question because I don't know who's going to make that call. I know they had done that with the Superdome. So that was already in place for the Superdome, which is obviously in New Orleans. LSU is in Baton Rouge, of course. So I don't know if that ties into what they were saying about the Superdome, and that has now carried over into an outdoor venue through some of the same policymakers. I don't know. It's a really good question that I just don't have a good answer for right now.
Is there any protocol set in place right now for Nissan Stadium?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, so 100% is what they're looking at for the most part.
At this point, as far as I know, unless something has changed that I'm not aware.
And it is outside, so I don't think a mask mandate would be in place for that either. I don't know. I'm just speculating on it. All right, let's talk a little bit about your football team. You've seen it from day one in camp to now. You were in Tampa, as you mentioned, for those, I guess, pretty feisty scrimmages, and then for the game itself. What have you learned about your team? What's different about this Ryan Tannehill offense or your defense that Harold Landry I know is so important to? What's different about these teams from a year ago?
Well, I think they're better on defense, which they had to be because they weren't very good last year. And I think that's pretty exciting. I think offensively, we don't know much because we haven't seen the whole gang together yet. Today was pretty close. Julio Jones practiced today. A.J. Brown practiced today. Derrick Henry practiced today. So, I'm going to be interested to see the ramp up, in 19 days when we turn around and play the Arizona Cardinals, how they're going to handle the rest of this week. And then really what is unusual, there's now a bye week before the season because there is no preseason game 4.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So will be interesting to see how the team uses that and how teams use that to get guys back to work and then sort of get into that process. There's a lot of anticipation about this offense. There's a lot of excitement. There are still questions. There's questions about who the right tackle is. There are questions about who the tight end core will be because they've got some things that they need to do there. Who are the blocking tight ends? Ferkser is a really good pass catcher, and he's outstanding on third down and in the red zone. But he is not a typical line him up, knock him back tight end. That's not really what he does. He will block. He's not afraid to block. He's just not he's not a get a hold of him and drive him back 15 yards type of guy like some of those tight ends are who are basically extra tackles. And every team has one or two of those guys, and the Titans have to make sure they have one or two of those guys in order to sort of run the different things they want on offense. But people are excited. The Titans have had 5 straight winning seasons and been to the playoffs back-to-back years. And so the sense is this is a pretty good team.
And I think the big glaring issue last year was the back end of that defense. You look at that defensive backfield. They were 31st in the NFL in pass defense, and they went out and got Janoris Jenkins. Christian Fulton is most certainly probably going to play a bigger role this year. They went out and drafted Caleb Farley. How much of a step up do you expect to see out of that group?
Vast. I think it's vast. This group is much faster. Mm-hmm. Last year's group had issues for a couple of different reasons, one of which was Adoree Jackson got hurt the Wednesday before the first game and essentially was never right. He didn't play until right at the end of the year, and he didn't play very well. And I think Adoree has world-class speed like Janoris does. Mm-hmm. And so you bring in Janoris, you promote Amani Hooker to be the other safety with Kevin Byard. Suddenly you're a lot faster, and Hooker's looked great in camp. Christian Fulton is healthy and has played well at the other corner. You've got Caleb Farley, who you can now bring along more slowly. And the other guy you've got, too, is Elijah Molden, who they got at number 100 out of Washington. And he put on a show the other night. He's got a little Cortland Finnegan, honey badger type thing about him, that he's this feisty. But the thing that he has is he has some true corner skills to go along with the feistiness to take on a tight end or a bigger wide receiver in the slot. And so that group's going to be better. The other thing, too, I mean, you're right about the back end. But when you only have 19 quarterback sacks, that means you have some problems with the pass rush, too.
And I think go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Part of that was due to the fact that the ball was coming out so fast because guys were wide open. But part of it, too, was they weren't getting home with the rush, and you can't cover for 10 seconds. You just can't. So getting Bud Dupree to go with Harold Landry, drafting Rashad Weaver, signing John Simon, they're going to be much better. Danico Autry up front with Jeffrey Simmons, they're going to be much better rushing the passer as well. They got faster. They got faster everywhere they went on defense, which they needed to do.
And the biggest with that pass rush, I would call it a lot of bad luck with the Jadeveon Clowney situation, and bringing in Bud Dupree most certainly is going to help. But back to Caleb Farley real quick. How much of a role do you think he'll play, considering the back surgery and everything else? Is he progressing pretty well?
I think he's doing fine. He did more last week than he's done so far, and he's doing more in practice, but he's really 2 weeks behind.
Yep.
He started training camp on the non-football injury list because obviously his surgery didn't happen while he was with the Titans. That's the same as PUP, but that's just a different title for it. So they've worked him in. He looks very healthy, but they're not putting him in tons of contact situations yet. And so I have a feeling you'll see him do more against the Bears Saturday than what he's done so far. And they will kind of continue to ramp him up. And, we think that this is another Jeff Simmons situation, that you took a player later in the first round, and by being willing to be a little bit patient, as the Titans were with Simmons, you're going to get a payoff later in the rookie season that shows that this guy should have gone a lot higher than number 19.
Last thing for the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. I see that Sam Ficken is your place kicker, and I'm sorry for my ignorance, but what's happened to Gotti? What happened to Stephen Gostkowski?
He's not re-signed yet, and we'll see if he does end up re-signing somewhere. Gostkowski is kind of he's kind of one of those veterans who has been penalized in some way by the fact that due to the NFL losing $4 billion in revenue, the salary cap went down.
Right.
Gostkowski does not kick for the minimum.
Right.
He's been too good. He's been too good throughout his
I
career.
think in his prime he was getting one, and this is a few years ago. He was the highest kicker. I think he was getting like 1.6
he's making
mil.
some money.
Yeah.
I mean, so if
he's
you're
a Tiger. You realize he got that education at the U of M. He
Trust
knows how to
me,
negotiate, baby.
I know. Well, the thing about Steven is he's like a lot of these veterans. Take a look at this and keep this in mind as you do your show over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
If you look at the 100 available free agents, there are a lot of big names. If you're on an NFL roster in week 1, then your salary is guaranteed for the year if you're a vested veteran, okay?
Right.
So what ends up happening is a lot of guys sign in week 2 because the teams don't have to guarantee salaries for the year, but guys see teams that have desperate needs and they can make a better deal. So a lot of these guys are saying, hey, I'm not going to training camp and get hurt in training camp. I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait until a team has a big need, and I'm going to get a better deal in September. And so I don't know if Gostkowski wants to kick again or not. I don't know if some of these other guys want to play again or not, but I can bet you that there's several of these guys who are their own agents who are veteran players who are saying, why go lay it on the line in August when I may be able to get paid more money by waiting until September? And so I think you're going to see a lot of veterans that week of September 13th signing contracts in different places for teams that have needs.
Great insight. I did not know that. I was thinking it was, I go back to the Bears and Robbie Gould, and I think Robbie Gould has cursed the Bears. And they deserve to be cursed for the way they treated him. Anyway, Mike, thank you much. We appreciate it. Stay healthy. I hope Vrabel gets the negative test and he can coach against the Bears. And we look forward to talking with you a little bit more often during this season.
Thanks, Mike.
I look forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mike Keith, voice of the Titans. We got to take a quick break. Back with a wrap of hour number 1 in just a minute.
Grab a seat with Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. The great Kimmons Wilson of Holiday Inn had a slogan: the best surprise is no surprise. And that's so true. When I sit at your kitchen table, you're going to understand exactly what I'm going to do to your roof. From the underlayment to the hip shingles and ventilation, the flashing, the wood repairs, the cleanup, the crew safety, the warranty. It's amazing how many customers sign contracts being told none of that stuff. But the best surprise is no surprise. Insurance claims. Talk to your friends. More and more claims are being rejected, and only experienced claims specialists are getting those terrible decisions overturned. So if you don't hire me, please hire someone to manage the process with the experience to see it through. The best surprise is no surprise. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right up and save money like never before at the Sunrise Chevy Big Top 10 event. See high prices disappear before your very eyes. Huge discounts and factory rebates up to $6,000. Bankrupt, slow pay, divorce, it's okay. The Sunrise Chevy team has over $500 million available for immediate financing and wants to get you financed. An $18 million used car inventory specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. The Sunrise Chevy tent sale in Collierville. Find new roads to Collierville, partner.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Cruising through our first hour, and We'll let you know coming up at the top. Brent Beard from Jacksonville will join us. We'll be talking about the ACC Big 12, Pac-12 historic, is how they are all marketing it, alliance. We'll see what Brent's got to think about that. We'll delve into that a little bit more. The other story today is that we are finding out now that Amani Bates, we're still on the watch, but tomorrow the watch will come to an end. Amani is going to make his decision as to where he will go and play next year, Michigan State, Oregon, Memphis, or the G League Elite. The guy who broke the story that he was going to announce tomorrow also had a crystal ball. Yes. His crystal ball becomes the 8th crystal ball now that says Memphis.
And this is one he's had a chance to go back and change. This is one he crystal balled this on the 11th of August, and he says 2 weeks ago I made my crystal ball for Amani Bates to Memphis after gathering more intel. So he got more intel within those 2 weeks that tells him he's sticking with the initial prediction.
Well, when did he release the story that the decision was going to be made tomorrow? No, tomorrow.
Oh, today. So he released that today.
He had the opportunity right then and there today to go back on that crystal ball.
Yep.
Yet he did not go back on that crystal ball. That's all I can say.
Exciting times tomorrow.
I'm going to ask Jason Munz because he's on top of all these things. Maybe we'll ask Brent Beard. I want to know if there's ever been somebody that had 8 crystal balls and they were all wrong. It just can't happen. It just cannot happen. It's like for you. It can't happen that you would get a bad deal from Conway Services Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, especially if you were trying to get new technology like the tankless. Let me tell you, tankless water heaters are the best. You never run out of hot water. You've got company over, let's say, they're staying in the spare bedroom, and you got a dishwasher going, you got a washing machine going. You never run out of hot water because you don't with a tankless hot water heater. And the best part is you only heat the water you use, so you save money on your gas bill every single month. And now John is making this the perfect time to replace the old energy guzzler, get the new technology, because John Conway says, I'll give you 12 months to pay interest-free. Or here's a $300 rebate, a check you get for the old tanked water heater. I mean, you can't beat that deal. Oh, and by the way, you never worry about the tank bursting in your attic either because there is no tank. And, with Conway, you're going to get 8,000 five-star reviews from Google. So you know they're going to be there on time, precise, clean, accurate, perfect. They are. I've been using them for years. I love them. 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the best tankless water heater. That's an hour in the books. The big news today, the Big Ten, Pac-10, ACC Alliance. We'll delve into that with our good friend, Brent Beard. He comes your way in just a minute.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, Just call Bill at I Buy Houses 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
RS Financial Group and Orion Federal Credit Union present the 2021 World Championship Hot Wing Contest, August 28th at Tiger Lane, featuring the South Hall Cafe's World Wing Series. Earn a spot to compete for $25,000. Go to worldwingfest.com. August 28th, mark the date for the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival at Tiger Lane. Live bands, $10,000 in cash prizes, presented by Orion Federal Credit Union, RS Financial Group, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities of Memphis. Go to worldwingfest.com.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Tie game, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. Well, at FanDuel Sportsbook, you get more than one shot to swing for the fences because FanDuel, they're letting you place your first bet risk-free. That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. Check out FanDuel's new promo live every Tuesday, $5 Dinger Tuesdays. Place a $25 wager or more on any player to hit a home run on Tuesday and get a $5 bonus in site credit for every home run hit in the game. Ride the Cardinals and Goldschmidt and Arenado, or opt in on the Tuesday night promotion with Shohei Ohtani. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook's America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use, great odds on all different betting markets, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel, they pay your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. That's promo code CASH at FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund and bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Let's drag him in on this terrific Tuesday. Brett Norsworthy still off. He'll be off until Monday. Our good friend Brent Beard is going to join us here momentarily. Story of the day, that would be the Alliance. It'll be hopefully better than the American Alliance of Football. That one lasted, how many games?
8, I think.
They didn't get that many in, did they? 8? I went
6,
to 1.
Let me see.
I went to 1. I went to the last game. Steve Spurrier and the officials robbed the Memphis Express of a game. And Spurrier was great in the post-game press conference. He was asked about, what he thought the league was going to happen, and he was all gung-ho. And then, of course, the next day they shut it on down.
They got through 8 weeks.
They did get through that many, huh?
Yeah,
interesting. But there is plenty of news today on this grouping of the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the ACC. And there is no signed agreement. There is a handshake. There is a look in the eye. That's what all three commissioners said. I do think, and we'll go over again, this is their wording. Their purpose is to focus on governance. So I guess we don't need the NCAA because that's what they do. Their purpose is to ensure student-athlete welfare and to ensure that the collegiate model continues. So this alliance is more like really the whole association is really what it is like without the SEC. To me, it's also saying, SEC, if you're going to continue to do rogue things and steal our people, we will group together and have power and not include you. That's what I get out of this. I know you don't think there's a whole lot of teeth to that, Gabe, based on what we said in the first hour. let's hear what our friend down in Jacksonville, who covers college football as well as anybody does, the SEC and the ACC, and that is Brent Beard. What is your take, Brent, on this, as they term it themselves, historic alliance today?
Yeah, the no contracts here, a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
I love what Peter Burns said about this about 2 hours ago on Twitter. The last, quote, gentleman's agreement, close quote, I remember was when all the conference commissioners agreed to work together, and then later on that day, the Big Ten, and I've got it here. The conference commissioners agreed to work together on the conference call. Then the Big Ten announced later that day they would play conference games only, blindsided everyone else. So a little bit of amusement there.
Oh, that was last year for the pandemic, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, but he was calling attention to this gentleman's agreement that they're talking about here. Look, there are a couple of things that really need to be pointed out here that really are. One, they don't want ESPN taking over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they now, what I was really glad to hear is they're not telling people they don't want to expand the playoff, because they do. I think they want to be able to take a look at it in a little more detail, which they will be in September. And to me, the real hypocritical thing about this with this alliance is you cannot tell me that if any of these conferences had a phone call from Texas and Oklahoma, that they would not have welcomed them into their conference like the SEC did.
Right, and then also when you don't have anything in writing, it just doesn't seem like there's much ground to stand on in this whole thing. And also, yes, you're taking on the SEC, the big bad SEC, and you're taking on ESPN, but what is stopping a member institution from jumping ship and joining the SEC if the SEC comes calling?
Well, really right now, not much, unless you are in, say, the ACC, and you've got the media rights agreement that goes through 2036. Now, that would be a problem for one of those teams. Again, we know these rights fees can be negotiated down, and we get that also. But we thought there would be a whole lot more scheduling in here, but there's not, and that's probably understandable.
Well, that's because everybody's tied up through 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's not a whole lot that they can do about that right now. I think they will, and that's what's got people's attention as much as anything else. But again, what they want, and besides ESPN controlling everything, and that's one of the reasons ESPN wanted to get the playoff expanded sooner rather than later, is after that ESPN contract runs out, they can get these other networks involved here. A lot of this, when you read it today and heard about it, it seemed like it was maybe written by the presidents and the chancellors, or at least a lot of it was, this academic institution, which I believe of these three conferences, 41% are involved with the highest. I want to say AAU, but that is not it, but it's something close to that, that it's a key academic organization that you qualify, and 41% of these three conferences have schools who are involved with that. So a lot of tentacles to this. A lot of this is philosophy. A lot of this is just to tell people this is what they're going to do. A lot of folks have written, is this in spite of the SEC? there's probably some of that to it, but I think more than anything else, guys, this is their way of protecting themselves and trying to go on the offensive to have a better situation over the next few years.
I think it clearly says they don't trust the SEC,
right?
Personally, and but they're very clear to say we're not boycotting the SEC. They still would do business with the SEC, but they're going to protect themselves against that entity which has already robbed two of their brethren. Even though it's really not their brethren because it came from the Big 12. But they could see other movements being made. And really and truly, what are the entities that could be picked up by any of these conferences that would have the same ramifications that losing Texas and Oklahoma does for the Big 12? There's none, because you're talking about 50% of the television value is down with the loss of Texas and Oklahoma for all the rest of those Big 12 schools. That I read today, couldn't believe it, but it's 50% the value of the media rights from those two to the Big 12 and their total package. The only schools that I could see that would really move the needle for anybody else, including the SEC, would be Notre Dame, and maybe if you robbed the Big Ten of Ohio State or Michigan, maybe it would be sort of the same, really more Ohio State, because Michigan hasn't been that big a factor. Although Texas, if you look at Texas, they haven't been exactly lights out since they let Mac Brown go. So, but there's very few entities out there that really change the whole value of a conference the way those two did for the SEC.
Well, and if Southern Cal was Pete Carroll's Southern Cal, I think you might can make a argument that at some point they would too. And if Penn State was better, I think we might could say that. But that is true, which means a couple of things here. One, and the commissioners were pretty, I think, I won't say adamant, but they were resolved to really, if they can help it, although I think you're always looking to it, to add teams, that they're not so much interested in adding teams right now, even though the Pac-12 has said over the last couple of days that they would be, and they're going to make up their mind probably by the end of the week if they're going to add somebody, i.e. maybe, Boise State, BYU, something of that nature. But Dave's points is right on, and we heard this a few weeks ago when the SEC made their move, and OU to bring OU and Texas in. Is right now expansion is a lot more about value and the brand rather than just adding a team for numbers.
Let me ask you guys this, since you brought it up: if you're BYU and Boise, would it be a more attractive deal for you to be in the rest of the conglomeration of the Big 12, including having to go to West Virginia, although if you were part of the U.S. Of the American, you have to do some traveling. But, you're Texas Tech, Kansas State, if Oklahoma State and if Iowa State are still around, those are nice entities. Baylor is defending national champions in basketball, and Waco's not a terrible place to be. It's not like Lubbock is, which is in the middle of absolutely nowhere. But wouldn't it be better if you kept the American whole to be in with Cincinnati and UCF? And those are the two major metropolitan areas that you would add to for Boise and for BYU. I don't understand how the rest of the Big 12, especially with Kansas and some of these other schools, may be leaving, including West Virginia. Why wouldn't you grab what you think is really going to be there?
Well, frankly, the Big 12 right now is in a very difficult place. I would agree with that. Right now, the best thing they could do probably would be to stay together and take a year or so and just kind of see what their options are, if they have very many options at this point. So, Dave, to your point, I don't think. Is it really necessarily, except just to get more numbers, to try to raid the American American and just get 2 to 4 teams, just end up with a few more. They may be better just staying put for right now before they do that.
Right, and I think the Big 12 missed the boat on adding AAC teams or a group of 5 teams. They could have done it last time around, and they wouldn't be in this situation right this second. Because now 8 without those teams, you could have been at 10 with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. They missed out on that. And when you look at the TV numbers and you look at the revenue generated without Oklahoma and Texas in the picture, the AAC's TV deals and their TV numbers are right there, if not a little better than the rest of what's left of the Big 12. So I just wonder if there would be any way that a Cincinnati would want to join the Big 12 in its current form.
Well, and I know they don't look at geography anymore, but if you're a Cincinnati, we're sure you would get into at least what right now is Power 5. But look, and I think Bowlesby is a pretty good commissioner, but I mean, do you trust what might happen? I mean, let's just say we're going to be happy and move to the Big 12 and what's left of the Big 12. I mean, is that group? I mean, they're on pretty shaky ground. Are they going to be there in the next few years? And the other thing is, if you're a Cincinnati, do you want your women's soccer team to be flying to Oklahoma State on a Tuesday night? What do things like that do for your overall athletic program beyond football?
And I think historically that Big 12 conference, Big 8, it's always seemed relatively temporary, right? There's always been realignment going on, and it's never lasted for all that long.
I'll say this. When it had Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska.
I love that conference. I grew up watching that conference.
You know, I thought that was a terrific conference. Missouri was in that conference.
But temporary. But
it was
jumped.
for a lot of my childhood. It was together, so I thought of that as Colorado was in that grouping.
Right,
it was a great grouping.
Are we in agreement though that Jim Phillips, of course, the ACC commissioner, this is just him playing nice, saying we want and need the Big 12 to be well. The Big 12 matters in college athletics. We'll do everything we can to make sure that they stay around. Is that a nice face, or is honestly, I think it tells you enough that they're not part of the alliance, the Big 12 and Bob Bowlesby?
Well, they played nice and they said the right things at that point. Talked about stabilizing college football, but I mean, it certainly speaks volumes that they weren't in the alliance as far as they tried to figure out what to do. Or at least they did not want the. They thought maybe the Big 12 was a risk to bring them in and didn't want to do it.
Right.
I'll be interested to see where and how that fleshes out.
Well, here's really what I wonder: is the SEC now going to think about, well, we're 16, we got all this negative thing going on here from these other 3 conferences. Maybe we ought to just let things stand as they are for a while, or do they still go after a Florida State and a Clemson? Or does this alliance actually give them pause for thought?
It would depend on who it was. Again, I mean, if just what you said a few minutes ago, Dave, it would be brand and value. I mean, obviously, if Notre Dame calls and says we won't in, or the aforementioned Southern Cal, Ohio State, we're not going to say that's going to happen. But I think depending on who it was, if you got it, or certainly if it would be Clemson. So if you got someone calling you up and asking about joining, particularly since you kind of make the rules right now with the SEC, I think that's what would determine if they would make another move and how quickly they would do it.
I do think one thing for sure that we learned today, and I thought the Big Ten and the Pac-12 commissioners really do want college football playoff expansion, but that was not the stance of the ACC. I felt like he wants to definitely drag his feet on that, and I think it was pretty clear, in my mind anyway, we're not going to see anything until 2026 on that because the contracts are up on 2025, and all of a sudden, when there was about to be inclusion and you were going to let the little guy into the big game in a smaller way, but still in a valid way, that is going out the window.
Well, I think that's a big mistake. And look, if you're in the Pac-12 right now, realistically, the only way you're going to get in the playoffs is, or unless say an Oregon or Southern Cal run the table, is to have expansion in the playoffs. I mean, why in the world they will want to delay that? To me, is absurd, frankly. So, but I do. It's not that they're against it. And your point on the ACC, I think is a good one, Dave. I think they're more neutral mode, and this may be more their commissioner biding his time before he mentions something. I do wonder, guys, and again, we all know contracts are contracts, but they can also be negotiated. Could they work out something to bring in some of these other TV entities and strike a deal with ESPN where they would have some of it, and then they would start spreading the wealth around and go ahead and have the playoffs sooner than later expanded.
Right. We will have to see. The other big news of the day, I think, is out of LSU. And Louisiana as a state is one of the lowest vaccinated as far as the rate goes in the entire United States. But they put some stringent COVID rules in. Negative PCR test within 72 hours, and you need proof of vaccine, I should say.
So basically, you're talking about
to get into the game.
To get into a game in Baton Rouge, you have to have either proof of a vaccine
or a negative PCR test within 72 hours.
Within basically 3 days.
Do you foresee maybe not just the rest of the SEC, but the rest of college football doing something similar?
I'll be honest with you. I hope they don't. Look, I've got the vaccine. I realize the importance of it, but I think you're putting way too much on your staff at these games. Because look, guys, you know it and I know it. In the South, you can have fist fights over this,
right?
Between fans and ticket takers. Here's the other thing they haven't thought about with this is, and we've had this discussion, guys, several months ago. You don't need to give fans another excuse not to come to a game. They're battling the heat, that they're battling that air-conditioned house with that jumbotron, and they've got their living room they can watch. And now you've got people who either, as far as their choice to not get vaccinated, and they're thinking to themselves, well, why do I need to do this, and why do I need to acquiesce here? And again, I just think you've got so many people. I can envision getting up. Heck, we could do it. Getting up, you're ready to go in. You all of a sudden realize you don't have your card. Well, what in the heck do you do at that point? I mean, you're not driving 6 hours back to your home to get it. I get the intent. I get what they're trying to do. I just could see this being a disaster at some stadiums.
I respectfully disagree with you. Most of the time I do not, Brent, but in this one I do. We are fighting a battle with a disease that won't go away. Over the weekend in Memphis, Tennessee, in Shelby County, there were 1,000 a day, 2,000 cases on Saturday and Sunday. That is the most since the pandemic began. And all you have to do is to get a vaccine to make sure we're healthy, all of us. And if you choose not to and you show a negative, if you want to go and do it that way, that's fine, because you are then exerting what your right to freedom may be in your head. But I don't think it would take first of all, the first thing I did when I got my vaccine, I have the card. I've got that in my medical file. I took a picture. It's in my phone. Fans aren't going to forget their phones. They're able to remember to put their tickets on their phones. So I don't think it would be that hard. And if you know on the front end that that's the way it's going to be, there's not going to be fistfights. You either have it or you don't.
My only question is, given some of these smaller schools that lost out on a lot of money with not having sold tickets, not having people in the stadium, do they want at this moment to deter fans from coming to the stadium? And I think with LSU, people will come to the game if they have to show a COVID vaccination card or a negative test. They'll still show up. Well, but for UL Monroe, for Buffalo.
So if you're a UL Monroe fan, you may go, you know what? I could be sitting next to some crazy that not wearing a mask that's never taken the vaccine. I'm not going to go because I don't want to take a chance.
I like what LSU did, Dave. I'm just curious if the lower level schools will want to deter any fans. From showing up.
But I'm saying to you that it could be a detriment to somebody who goes, I'd buy a ticket, but there's no rules here. I'm not going to take a chance.
It goes both ways. I see what you're saying.
Anyway, real quick, we got to run, but I do want to ask you this. I just saw Travis Etienne out for the year for the Jags. What?
Liz Frank.
What is that? What is a Liz Frank injury?
It's like the top of look. I'm not a medical expert, but it's like the top of his foot.
Yep.
Like someone stepped on it or something of that nature. He's got a hairline, this or that. He was going to be a really exciting player, but the problem is, look, guys, and if you've seen any of their first two games, they thought bringing Trevor Lawrence in would solve everything. The problem is they don't have anybody to protect him. They don't have enough quality receivers, and this is simply going to be another one of those rebuilding years that just go on and on for eternity with this franchise.
Yep. Thank you, Brent. We appreciate it as always.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking games next week.
Can't wait.
You got it. That is our friend in Jacksonville, Brent Beer.
So the Liz Frank is actually he was just about correct.
Yeah.
In the middle of your foot, you have all those tiny little bones.
Right, up top.
So it's a crush injury where a lot of those bones start to fracture,
Isn't that
and it falls in on itself.
It's
falls
on the top. It's the top layer, right?
I can tell you from having teammates that have gone through it, it is not easy to come back from.
They got to have surgery, and he's out a year.
Yep.
So that's
terrible.
And
I was also interested to see Urban last night brought in Carlos Hyde to run the ball before he brought in Travis Etienne. I thought that was a little odd, too.
I'm not sure how this thing is going to work with Urban. It'll be kind of a fun experiment all year long. We got to take a break. I'll let you know our title sponsor for this hour of the program. You know, it's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Also, that's where they have all the Genesis cars, and they want me to let you know there are Genesis cars on the lot. Oh, yeah. You can get a G70, a G80, a G90, that G70. I had one of those, the highest performance car I've ever had. I put it in sport mode. I thought it was in a rocket ship. Then I had a G90. That's a huge car. That is the smoothest car I have ever been in. And you know these cars are safe. They get written up for being the safest vehicles, Hyundai and Genesis cars in the world. And they're durable. Every new car gets a 10-year guarantee. I'm not kidding. You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty with every new Hyundai and with every new Genesis. So they got the product now. They're going to take care of you because that's what this team, which, by the way, has been together for 14 years. Their leader is Chris True. Most of the guys, sales, finance, maintenance, they've been around for 14 years working together. And this was the brainchild of the GM, and that's Chris True. He said, let's serve these people once they buy. So you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on every new car. You want your tires rotated, they'll do that. You want your oil changed, they do that. You want your belts tightened, you want your liquid levels checked, they do all of that. Your car will run at peak efficiency. This is how they've raised the bar at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We pause for just a minute. When we come back, Munzie, Jason Munz, the beat writer for the Tigers and the Commercial Appeal, will join us. We'll talk some Imani Bates. That comes your way in just a moment.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
It's hot outside and your air conditioner just quit. Quick, who do you call? Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, of course, with 24-hour emergency service available. Automatic understands your house is unique, so they work fast to find the right solution for your family's comfort and budget needs. And with financing available and payments as low as $75 a month, it's never been easier to make your home comfortable. Call 363-4636 or go online to itsautomatic.com. Turn to the experts at Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. When we put them in nice packaging, we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Halfway home on a Tuesday. Brett off. He'll be back on Monday. We had Kuhn filling in. And now we have 8 crystal balls that say Imani Bates is coming to Memphis. We have another guy saying tomorrow's the day the announcement will come. We want to go to a source that knows all. That's Munzie, Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. Here's my first question for you, Jason. In all the years you've been covering these things, and I know you look at these recruiting things, that's part of your job, has there ever been a time when there were 8 crystal balls that said a guy was going to a certain school and they were all wrong? 8. Tell me that ever happened before.
None that immediately spring to mind. I'll be honest. Everything is pointing toward. I mean, pretty much everything is pointing toward Imani Bates announcing that his plans for next season will include the Memphis Tigers. Now, there are how many hours between now? I mean, like I just retweeted Adam Zagoria, the college basketball National College Basketball Insider, who says, according to a source of his, the announcement will likely come sometime after 5 p.m. Central Time. So there are still 24 long hours.
24 hours and 24 minutes.
Yeah, 24 long hours between now and then. And so, with recruiting, nothing, in my opinion, is ever ironclad. Nothing is ever concrete. But I think this is as close to that as you can get, especially when you're considering the level of recruit that we're dealing with.
And then you're talking about Imani Bates, who, and I think the big conversation about the Tigers team as a whole is primary ball handler, point guard. Who's going to handle that? If Penny and Rasheed and Cody Toppert and Larry Brown land Imani Bates, is he going to be that guy?
I think there does seem to be a lot of, some varying opinions on this. I tend to believe that Penny Hardaway, one of his biggest pitches, one of his primary pitches to Imani Bates during this entire thing has been, come be me. This is what
right.
You're a lot like me. You can do so many things. You can create your own shot. You can create for others. You can penetrate. You can hit from long distance. There are a lot of similarities between our games. I was a point guard. Technically, I was a point guard. Right. You can come here and you can fill a very similar role to the one that I had when I was here and when I was in the NBA. That's my overriding. I mean, I do think that just the nature of the system that Memphis has run since Penny Hardaway got here, there are going to be, I would think, pretty significant stretches of time here and there where, Imani Bates probably will play off the ball. We've seen it so much where, unless it's Alex Lomax running the point, if it's not him, sometimes it's Lester, sometimes it was Boogie, sometimes it was Damian Ball, sometimes it was DJ Jeffries bringing the ball down the floor. I mean, we've seen it so much where there's not one primary ball handler outside, I guess, of Alex Lomax in the last 3 seasons. So I do think we'll see some of that, some of Imani Bates doing different things just because he's probably more suited to play off the ball, but I think he wants to play on the ball and run the ship. And so I think the majority of what we'll see from him will be as captain of the ship.
I think your point, it's a good philosophical point here. Under Penny on this team, even with Lomax in, there have been times that he was not the primary ball handler. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, especially when he got hurt, Lester Quinones really took over that role a lot more, but it was not exclusive because You're right. He was out there at times. Boogie, they could be on the floor together, and Boogie would be the guy that was distributing the ball. It wasn't that often toward the end when they were making their nice run, but it was that way. Ball would come in, and he would be the primary ball handler. I could see there were times I think that even DeAndre Williams would get the ball up top and try to make moves, and if he couldn't, he would distribute the ball. If we go back in time to Penny Hardaway as a point guard, he wasn't exclusively the point guard on that team. He had Tony Madlock getting him the ball.
Yep.
So, and Billy Smith had the ball a bunch of times when he was on that team with Penny. So that's what Penny kind of grew up with. Penny can be the point guard. He can distribute like he had the best vision of anybody, but he also, there were times he would take over. I know there have been comparisons with Bates and Kevin Durant. Well, you don't see Kevin Durant as the primary ball handler, but he gets to a spot, you get him the ball, and then he makes a decision, am I going to make my move or am I going to draw enough people where I make a catch, a pass? So I think with the way this team is being constructed, that there will be several options of guys that will be ball distributors, and there will not be, with maybe the exception of when Lomax is in for those minutes, that ball will be spread around as to who brings it up. And there will probably be different plays that will dictate who is going to be the guy that starts the play going.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up DeAndre Williams, because I was going to if you didn't. But I think that people are kind of sleeping on him as someone who can initiate the offense. I was talking to somebody probably, a few weeks ago who was telling me that outside of Alex Lomax, DeAndre Williams was probably the most capable on the team last year of doing just that, of directing traffic and getting the offense into its getting it in and out of its plays, and seeing the floor and moving people around and doing various things. And I don't see why that would change. Now, I say that out of one side of my mouth, and then out of the other side, right behind it, I'm going to say there have been additions to this team. Obviously, Imani Bates is one. Jonathan Lawson is another. Alex Lomax is now healthy. Or we assume he will be healthy. A lot of the times we saw DeAndre Williams, sort of doing what I was just talking about was when it was after Alex Lomax got hurt. So,
and by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but Earl Timberlake is a guy who played point guard at the Math in high school.
Yeah.
Who knows where he's playing?
Oh, by the way, Earl Timberlake. I know Josh Minot is somebody who wants to be a guard. I mean, every chance he gets, he talks about being a big guard. Who knows exactly how that's going to pan out, on this roster and this season. But the point is, there are still, just because you add Imani Bates does not make him clear cut. And just because you have Alex Lomax doesn't mean he's the clear cut point guard. I think we're still going to see a mix at not at that position per se, so to speak, but sharing those duties. That's really the most important thing. Penny has talked about it so many times, positionless basketball. But there are still certain duties that are assigned to certain players at certain points of the game, and that's more of what we're talking about here when we're talking about point guard, is who's going to handle those duties and when. I think part of the time it's going to be Imani Bates, part of the time it's going to be Alex Lomax, and part of the time it's going to be possibly someone else.
And I have no doubt that those duties will be shared, but you need a guy at some point when the game gets tight, when the game gets tough toward the end of the game, to be able to take those duties and run with them. With how deep this team could get,
AKA Alex Lomax,
right? With how deep this team could get with the addition of Imani Bates, what kind of roles do you envision the Lawson brothers to have? How much will they be utilized?
Well, let me add something onto that question, because it's a very pertinent question. I think there's an umbrella over that whole thing, which is, do you think you can have too much talent on one floor, on one team that has only one basketball?
As long as everybody shares the same vision, that at the end of the day, they're all going to potentially be sporting the same ring, then I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, if they can all share the same mentality that they're all going to be on millions of television sets come March next year, then no, I don't think you can have too much talent. And there's the old philosophy that, the argument, yes, I do think your point is well taken, that the argument can be made that there is only one ball. But if you're Memphis and you have the opportunity to assemble a potential juggernaut the way they kind of sort of might have, especially if Imani Bates commits to the Tigers tomorrow, well, you're not going to turn that away. I mean,
No.
you know, that's a bridge that you cross if you have to come to it. But I do think that the staff is very confident in potentially having to cross that bridge. I mean, they had to cross it last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, Penny went out of his way a bunch of times to say, you know, we've got personalities on this team that, you know, people on this team who egos and people who played selfishly and this and that, and they got over it. They won an NIT championship despite it. They were, a couple of points away from getting to the NCAA tournament despite it. So I think they feel confident after last season that if they have to deal with the old too much talent for one ball thing, that they will, you know, that they can do that. But you're right. I mean, if you add Imani Bates to this equation, we haven't even brought up Landers Nolly's name.
Right.
We've talked about Earl Timberlake. We've talked about DeAndre Williams. I don't even know that we brought up Jalen Duren's name. I mean,
and he's brought up the Lawsons. You got one guy that came home from transfer. The other kid decided to stay home, and he could have gone to almost anywhere. Decommitted from Oregon. So you know, where will they sit in all of this, and how will you find unity there?
Oh, by the way, Tyler Harris is back as well. You know, he's in the mix too, and you got John Camden and Sam Onu, and it really makes you shake your head. But it's also, if you're a Memphis fan, it's definitely a very, very exciting prospect.
And granted, this has become a yearly question now with Penny Hardaway and staff and how they've recruited. I mean, this is where is the ball going to be? How is there enough scoring to go around? So you have to ask those questions. My question, and I think everybody has asked this question at this point, who gets cut out of the starting lineup if Imani Bates does commit? That's $1 million question. If someone can answer that for me at this point in the game, I would be.
Well, I mean, if we speculate, let's just go over it, sort of. You know, you're going to have Duren at the 5, right?
Right.
I think that's probably for sure. I can't imagine that a guy like DeAndre Williams, who really was your heart and soul last year,
that's fair.
He's got to play at the 4. Now you've got Bates, Timberlake, Nolly, Quinones. They can all play 3, 2, and 1, can't they?
Yes. Here's what I would
Somebody's
say.
not starting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be 3 guys for one position. I think the locks for the starting lineup are Imani Bates, Landers Nolly, DeAndre Williams, and Jalen Duren. I think we can pretty much all agree that those 4, you know, they tried bringing Landers off the bench a couple of games last year. It didn't work. He's not that type. That does not work with his personality. I do not see that being a thing this year where he doesn't start. So I think you've got Lester, you've got Earl Timberlake, and who am I missing? The third guy for that last spot. I can't think of what it is.
I think those are the 2. I mean, because you would go, like we just said, you'd have Williams, Nolly. There's no question you're going to play Duren and Bates. So now it comes down to Quinones and to Timberlake, really.
And Timberlake, yeah. And so, I mean, you know, the argument for Lester in the starting lineup is he guards the opponent's best player. Do you want him coming off the bench, because then you sort of neutralize one of his biggest strengths. You know, one of his biggest strengths is his defense and guarding the other team's best player, and you that's reduced if you have him coming off the bench. But you've also got a projected first-round draft pick that transferred here from Miami, you know, probably for a good reason, probably expecting to start. So do you upset that apple cart?
We got to run, so I'm gonna put a bow on this real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
My speculation, it's all it is that you know, Timberlake's going to start. If he was a lottery pick last year until he got hurt and he's healthy, he's going to start. So it comes really down, in my mind, to Landers, Nolly, and Lester Quinones. Personally, I think Lester is the best overall player. But Nolly is your leading scorer from a year ago, and as you said, it did not work for him. The guy that is the best embracer of the team concept seems to be Quinones. That's why I think he'd probably be the guy that'd go, okay, I'll come off the bench. That's just my take, and that could be wrong too. And, maybe he'll clearly beat out. I mean, they're going to play. They're going to practice against each other. Something will come out. We'll find out tomorrow about Bates. Munzie, you've always been kind. We appreciate it. Sorry we didn't have a little bit more time with you, but we'll do it again in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, no worries. Thank you, guys.
That's Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. He is brought to you in part by the good folks from Grind City Brewing and that wonderful, beautiful premium Pilsner called Poppy's Pills. Just what the doctor ordered. Sometimes you're going to come across a beer so smooth, so crushable, that it actually is what the doctor is telling you will fix all that ails you. You take 2 of these pills, you'll be calling for more. It's been 6 years in the making to get this lighter beer, this perfect Pilsner with 4% alcohol. Perfect. It's great for grill outs. It's great when you get out of the swimming pool. It's terrific after golf when you're thirsty as can be. A little bit lighter than some of the others, but I think it will become the new staple for Grind City Brewing, and you can get it at Grind City Brewing. You can get it at liquor stores, and you can get it at Kroger's. Poppy's Pills, just what the doctor ordered from Grind City Brewing. We take a break. When we come back, there's baseball news, breaking St. Louis Cardinal baseball news. We'll tell you what that is in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
RS Financial Group and Orion Federal Credit Union present the 2021 World Championship Hot Wing Contest, August 28th at Tiger Lane, featuring the South Hall Cafe's World Wing Series. Earn a spot to compete for $25,000. Go to worldwingfest.com. August 28th, mark the date for the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival at Tiger Lane. Live bands, $10,000 in cash prizes, presented by Orion Federal Credit Union, RS Financial Group, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities of Memphis. Go to worldwingfest.com.
Hey, Mid-South, are you ready to trade up to a Kia sales event at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
We're ready, Randy, with the best ride you'll ever drive. 2021 Kia Forte LXS, we Gossett at $249 a month. 2022 Kia Soul GT, it's ready to ride at $305 a month.
And Jeff Allen, I hear you've got American-made 2022 Kia K5, now $379 a month. And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
You heard the man, Jeff Allen. Don't miss the trade up to a Kia sales event at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. All $29.99 due at signing, all 72 months at 2.9 APR sold in 715-1544 MSRP 24,200 K5 NG 103,647 MSRP 28,985 Forte LXS MSRP 20,590 includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that, or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Shell Dunn, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Breaking baseball news and Cardinal fans around this area, up the river all the way to the Arch City. They're going to be happy because Yadier Molina and the Cardinals have just agreed to a 1-year contract extension. He's 39 years old, so in his 40th year, he will make $10 million. I love it that a guy at 40 is still going to get a pretty darn good payday. And we get this since 2005, when Yadi became the Cardinals' everyday catcher. Since that time, so that's 16 years ago, right, the Cardinals have allowed 830 stolen bases, which sounds like
a big number.
Sounds like a big number, but 16 years, 830, you know. That is 379 fewer than any other major league team.
Least surprising stat ever, too. The guy throws out people on curveballs.
No, he does.
He's unbelievable.
I just hope next year that he still has an arm at age of 40. How many games do you think he can catch next year at age 40 with all the wars he's been through?
He's caught 94 this year.
That's amazing.
He's unbelievable.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. And there's no question.
He had an all-star year this year at age 39.
It's great for the game of baseball that a guy like him sticks around, and he's doing it on a National League team without a DH. I love it. I'm happy for Yachty. I'm actually happy for Cardinal fans.
And I'm wondering about Adam Wainwright now, if he's going to go another year with the Cardinals.
He's
had a good year.
If they offer him $10 million, he will.
And I think all Cardinals fans thought that this was the last year you're going to see both of them in a Cardinal uniform.
I certainly did. This final portion of hour number 2 is brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builder, second generation, 50 years of building palaces or remodeling. I call it renovation with innovation because he brings all the modern amenities to an older home. Now's a good time with the way prices are going if you want to buy a new house that's already there. Build your own might be a better idea, or to remodel. I'm telling you, he has it all. Go to kengarland.com. You'll see what I'm talking about, and then call him. He's fun to talk to because he's one of those rare guys that sees little detail, big picture all at once. His number is 751-1632. If you're looking for land, he's got it. If you've got land you're not sure what to do with it, he knows, and he'll tell you. He works with all of his clients closely, ensuring they get exactly what they want and expect. Quality construction on time, on budget. He's the best. Go call him, 751-1632. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We pause for just a minute. When we come back, more NFL. Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com is right around the corner.
I'm Brian Elder. The great Kimmons Wilson of Holiday Inn had a slogan: the best surprise is no surprise. And that's so true. When I sit at your kitchen table, you're going to understand exactly what I'm going to do to your roof. From the underlayment to the hip shingles and ventilation, the flashing, the wood repairs, the cleanup, the crew safety, the warranty. It's amazing how many customers sign contracts being told none of that stuff. But the best surprise is no surprise. Insurance claims. Talk to your friends. More and more claims are being rejected, and only experienced claim specialists are getting those terrible decisions overturned. So if you don't hire me, please hire someone to manage the process with the experience to see it through. The best surprise is no surprise. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Mid-South, the time is now to trade up to a Kia sales event at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. You want to ride with 41 MPG Highway? We Gossett 2021 Kia Rio $249 a month. You want 0% at $282 a month? We Gossett with 2021 Kia Forte. And all-weather rugged 2022 Kia Seltos $332 a month. Plus peace of mind with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Trade up and get top dollar at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All $29.99 due at signing. Rio ME 418 570 60 at 0.9% APR. MSRP 17.2. Forte ME 393 458 60 at 0%. MSRP 19,940. Celtos N 724 9948 66 at 1.9%. MSRP 23,910. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only. Must finance through Kia on APR offer.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country environment, that good feeling at DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online to DeSotoAutoSales.com and check out all the cars and all the repeat after repeat customer vouchers that they have, the stories, the testimonials they have at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Go online and check them out. Let them tell you exactly what you're in for. But I'm going to tell you as well, all the cars are test driven and checked out from bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. They'll find it in short order. You walk into DeSoto Auto Sales and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid back atmosphere, no high pressure sales. But they care about your time, and they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. Within 45 minutes, test drive a car, cars, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there. They keep it that simple. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now before you launch into the weekend. It's that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales. 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome in, hour number 3. No Brett Norsworthy, off for the week. Well-deserved. He'll be down in Oxford, and he'll be observing. I look forward to chatting with him on Monday. We'll start making our SEC picks, that's for sure. College football, the big news today is the Big Ten, Pac-12, and ACC alliance. Nothing actually signed, just handshakes, looks in the eye, wink, wink. We're going to all stick together. Their wording here is to focus on governance, student-athlete welfare, and ensuring the collegiate model continues, which basically is what the NCAA is supposed to do. So they're, I guess, becoming a de facto association themselves. We'll see how all of that works out. There was no threat of a boycott of the SEC at all, but I do think it was a preemptive move to say, if you guys don't play nice and you keep trying to steal our guys, we'll do something about it. At least that's my sort of take on all of it. The 2 of the 3 commissioners are for college football playoff expansion. The third one was kind of lukewarm about that. That was Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC. I think there's a message in here for ESPN too, because they did say, in essence, we think we should control our playoff, not a television entity, and maybe that should be bid out to other people to see where we could make our best money. We'll see how all of that plays out. And then the biggest of news, and that is Imani Bates reportedly will make his decision tomorrow around this time. 24 hours from now, Bates will say where he's going. 8 different crystal balls will have already said Bates is coming here. We're working hard to get Brooks Hansen on tomorrow in the 3:30 time slot, so things will still be up in the air at that particular point. In the meantime, we love talking NFL football with our friend from collegetopro.com. That is Bo Marchant, who joins us. And I don't know if Bo can really talk today. He's so giddy. He's so incredibly just euphoric over Ben Roethlisberger's perfect rating in the exhibition game against the woeful Detroit Lions. Are you okay? Can you go on today?
I can't. 11-0 was just the building block to get to 16-0 and another Super Bowl. No, I'm joking, but I was joking around with some friends Sunday, and they asked me how the game was, and I said, I feel pretty confident about when I look at a flip card of an NFL team, and I was like, I could honestly say, because I love hockey, but I don't know any hockey players, but, me and my wife love sitting and, on the porch having a beer watching the games during the playoffs, but I was like, I really struggled just to identify with a lot of the names on the roster. So, I was excited the way the Steelers were playing, but then on the flip side, I said, I know it's preseason. We don't want to make too much of it. You don't know who's, scheming the right things and whatnot, but definitely a great performance for the first team offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they have to walk away. And on the Lions' behalf, no Jared Goff. Again, not a lot of starters, but not a lot of talent either top to bottom. But Ben Roethlisberger, he looks, when you see his appearance, you instantly see that he really has put time and effort into the offseason in terms of trimming down. If you come across somebody who's lost a lot of weight or they just look different, and he has that youthful look to him where you're like, wow, you really did put in the effort. And if this is his final season, we don't know. But if that is the case, you definitely have to feel that he did everything he could to be at his best. Will he be his best? Probably not, because age is not on his side. But nonetheless, he's done everything within his power to be the best Ben Roethlisberger that he can be in 2021.
Do you think Tom Brady has sort of motivated guys like Ben Roethlisberger, seen what he can do later in life if you really train hard and do the sort of eating and stretching exercises that Brady has done, is that a predictor of what other guys might try to do to prolong their career?
Absolutely, Dave. I think when you look at Brady and his resume, I mean, anything he's going to do, how you can't, if you're another competitor at that level, how can you argue, well, it works for him, it may not work for me. I think all these guys, especially, if you're on the, plateau of a Ben Roethlisberger in terms of income and what you're going to be able to do, cooks and workouts and masseuse and so many levels that are just outside the, realm of what we can't even imagine in terms of, money and time and able to put that effort in. But Brady definitely has transformed that. And, TB12 has become part of the landscape. And it's one, I think it'll grow. And you touching on that, I think this will be, I think we have NFC West quarterbacks today. And it was kind of, looking, three of those, if Jimmy G starts the season, which I think he does, he'll be 30 in November. It's hard to think that, Russell Wilson, 32, Matthew Stafford, those guys aren't old. We know the quarterback position is, it's become lengthened because these guys can play longer. They're more protected. But, just think about that. Three quarterbacks in the AFC West are going to be 30 this year. And those guys, they're going to have to start thinking about, hey, what is Tom Brady doing? What's Ben Roethlisberger? What are these guys doing to prolong their careers and be at the top of it for a long, long time?
But with Ben Roethlisberger, it's been unbelievable. The four-letter network that I won't mention makes it seem like the guy didn't throw for 33 touchdowns and 10 interceptions last year. Makes it seem like he's one of the worst quarterbacks in his own division, behind Baker Mayfield, behind all these guys. I don't really understand the thought process behind that. Are the rumors of his demise exaggerated? Because I think last year you look at that run game, you look at that O-line, there was a lot of issues up front. Will that help him going into this year, having Najee Harris, having some upgrades along that O-line?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Najee. I mean, we all seen him do it at Alabama, but I mean, he's been doing it at camp all year, and you just see those glimpses and peaks of brilliance when he has the ball in his hands. He had a big play on the pass, and he did a stutter step against a Lions linebacker, and it was just such an effortless motion, the stutter step, and you just see him make the move, and then he just jettison off the right side of the sidelines for a big pickup. Ben, and I joked around. I've said it several times on the show. 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. We want to write him off. Justin Herbert had the same numbers as a rookie.
Exactly.
He's supposed to be the greatest thing, since Joe Namath. But Ben had his struggles, and down the stretch, you saw a beat-up quarterback. You saw an older quarterback who wasn't at peak condition, and I think that's why he looked at himself and said, "You know what? I can be better." That 11-0 mark, they wrote it out, and they went 1-5 or 1-4 down the stretch. They finished 12-4. They lose embarrassingly at home to the Browns in their first playoff game. And Ben did not play well. I mean, you could look at his stats overall, but he threw 4 or 5 picks. I mean, it was a woeful game for Ben Roethlisberger, and I think those are the mistakes. The run game, that's all going to be predicated on the offensive line, who's looked better, but until this really, really, hits the fan week one when they go to, Orchard Park up in Buffalo and get this thing going, is you're going to see how good that. And mind you, I went back, I remember last year being in Buffalo for the game, and Ben Roethlisberger, I forget his statistics or his career win record. It's really, really bad against the Buffalo Bills. So if you're a bettor out there, it's something to look into that Ben struggles. I don't know why. This has been from the time he began his NFL career till last year. They do not play well against the Buffalo Bills, especially Ben Roethlisberger. Something to know. But again, very, very good effort. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter by the first-team offense in Pittsburgh. So they definitely have to walk away feeling happy. Pat Freiermuth, second-round pick out of Penn State, the tight end, 2 touchdowns. Najee Harris, nice. So you're starting to see that youth movement a little bit, and nothing better than looking like you might have done well with some draft picks, especially with your first and second ones.
I am bringing this up just to mess with Dave off the very top of this conversation.
I am
because
shocked.
the Bears officially name Andy Dalton their starter for Week 1. I just want to know your thoughts on it. Justin Fields, I think at some point will take over this year. But do you think that's the right decision?
This is the only. I'm going to say this after I thought about it, because I think we're all excited to see Justin Fields, and he's done everything possible to say, hey, is he not? Is he ready? What rookie is? We really don't know until live action hits. But if they go to Andy Dalton in week 1, then you can go the Trey Lance. If you throw if you throw Justin Fields out there week 1 and he doesn't pan out, then you got to go back to Dalton. Then if we know Andy's not going to be the solution, so then you got to go the Justin Fields. Maybe you don't want to play head games. Just let Andy ride it out. And remember, this was a playoff team last year, so I could see a little bit of resilience. You don't want to maybe just give the keys to the castle to this young kid because you don't know what you have just yet. Does he look great? Does he look like he's going to be something special? At this point, yeah, preseason, it definitely looks like they found something special in Justin Fields. But at the end of the day, if Andy Dalton can somehow get this team off to a good start, maybe you roll with them. And if he struggles mid-season, then you make the switch. And then if you got to go back. But maybe to throw him to the Wolves so early in the year might be a good thing. Let Andy do his thing. Once he stumbles, if he stumbles, which I think he will, I don't think he'll be able to put that offense over the top. Then you hand it off to the former Ohio State Buckeye, and see what he has to go. And then they just kind of move that franchise on. And hopefully, for Dave's sake, for all the Chicago fans out there, the Justin Fields becomes one of these iconic figures and the long lineage of great Chicago Bears.
I really thought when he started this, because he's making a big deal out of this. This is what he said yesterday on the air.
I'll tell you what I said.
He said,
I'll own it.
You don't want to start Justin Fields against Arnold and
Aaron Donald,
and
Myles Garrett, and all those guys,
right? Or even Cleveland the next week. So I go along with that. No, I really thought you were going to Mitch Trubisky.
Oh no.
So you talk about Pittsburgh having problems with Buffalo. How about the Bears allowing Mitch Trubisky in Soldier Field to come back and 4 consecutive drives score a touchdown against the monsters of the Midway's defense? That, folks, is embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is embarrassing, but not regular season football. I'm sure Mitchell Trubisky had to be a little bit happy on those way back and
to
home and think about that. But at the end of the day, if he would have done that to opposing teams as he was wearing and donning the Bears jersey, then he would still be the starter in Chicago. But we know how that ended up going, and he has to kind of resurrect his career. And who knows when we'll see him back in the starting. Hopefully, with Josh Allen's such a phenomenal talent, you do not want to see him miss any time in Buffalo. So it's going to be a long time absent of injury before we see Mitchell probably back on the center.
He ain't beating out Josh Allen. There's no doubt.
No.
About that. Today, a guy that we thought could be a star in the making, Jaguars running back Etienne.
Travis.
He's out now for, it looks like, the year with that foot injury. That's tough, and that's even more pressure now on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, it was I felt bad looking at Urban Meyer last night. You just saw a coach who was so dominant collegiately, has such powerhouse teams, and then the realization that, you're now in the National Football League and you're watching this offense sputter. The thing with Travis Etienne, and even after the draft, and we all know him from Clemson. We know he's a versatile running back, but they even talked about moving him to receiver, but they decided, hey, we're going to keep him running back.
Third down back.
But without him, you got Hyde, you got Robinson, you don't have that burner type guy, Divine Ogzigbo, another good running back, but they don't have that speedster type. So who knows, cuts are coming. There's plenty of available guys. So, if they want to add another dynamic to that offense in terms of just kind of a back out of the backfield, that's going to be a tremendous loss. But last night, we all saw it. Jacksonville, there's a reason why they were 1-15. They're just not a good football team. And, it's going to take time. Hopefully Urban Meyer can do it. He's had a winning track record everywhere he's gone. It's just a matter of finding the right pieces. But Travis Etienne going down is definitely not a benefit to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And hopefully, Liz Frank, those can be nasty injuries. Hopefully that he comes back, no harm, no foul. Next year we get to see him do kind of some special things along with Trevor Lawrence. I love Savishka Shenault, the former Colorado receiver. He's a kid. He kind of in that Deebo Samuel type mold where they're thick, fast receivers, very versatile. They can do a lot of end around stuff. They're just creative wide receiver pieces, and I'm sure Meyer will kind of introduce that side of Shenault once the season gets going. But very vanilla, offense last night. But long way to go, and I'm sure we'll see some spectacular plays by Trevor Lawrence and company before we get done playing a 17-week schedule in the National Football.
Well, I know you say you're hopeful for Urban Meyer to turn it around, but last night I'm just watching a guy who doesn't seem to have a plan offensively, and I know you say it's vanilla, but the fact that you have Carlos Hyde out there running the ball before you even give Travis Etienne a carry was very bizarre to me, and just the look on his face the entire game. I know you're hopeful that he can change it and turn it around, but do you actually think that Urban Meyer can get the job done there?
You know, his coaching career, third best, collegiately, and, that doesn't count for anything in the National Football League. And we could go the long list of successful college coaches who have not been able to, master that and duplicate that success at the next level. I think he is a little bit of a different breed. Up here in the, Ashtabula, Ohio, I just think there's something to Urban Meyer in football, and I really think that resonates with him being able to make that happen in Jacksonville. And it's going to be a work in progress, and I think that's the only benefit is, this, Rome wasn't built in a day. Are we going to see, a 10-7 team in Jacksonville there? No, you're not. But, I think even, 5 games, that's a 4-game improvement. I think that would be a humongous leap,
Right.
and let it go from there. So it's so early in the process. And, if Trevor Lawrence he's supposed to be this, generational type quarterback, this guy that can transform a franchise. And, he looked good last night. He's a rookie, but when you see just the ball release and, how much pop comes out of his arm with that ball, and, he had his moments. We all saw that run play. If you weren't watching the game when he took off for the first down, I'm sure that made Meyer and the whole team cringe. Those are the things you get scared of. Like, hey, we know you want to win, but buddy, you can't be going head first for a first down in the preseason game, game 3 of the preseason. If you're about to go to the AFC Championship game, you might want to, hang it out there. But, that's just part of being a rookie. And I actually kind of admired it. I thought, hey, you know what? We could say, hey, this kid from Clemson, he might be soft. But, preseason, he was like, you know what? I'm tired of this offense struggling, and I'm tired of getting off the field. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sacrifice myself for a first down. Not the smartest thing, but you got to like the grittiness of Trevor Lawrence, I thought, on that.
On the other side of the ball, we watched Jameis Winston, and I don't know if that's because Jacksonville's defense sucks too, or is Jameis Winston actually starting to look like he used to?
You know what? The kid has skills. You're not a Heisman winner. You're not a national champion of football. You're not the number 1 pick because you don't have the skills. It's just he throws too many interceptions. I think if you could put him in one place, we could probably say Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, and then Sean Payton. He went to a perfect place last year, and he was humble. He wasn't beyond it. He got to spend a year with Drew Brees, even with Taysom Hill. You got to expect that under his tutelage of Sean Payton, that he'll be able to learn to not make those mistakes. He looked fabulous last night, and it's I always say supermodels, Victoria's Secret models. There's a pedigree of first-round picks. He's a first-round pick. At the end of the day, he's that supermodel. Taysom Hill, he's a pretty girl, but you just look at that, and I just think we look. I always count the numbers up when the season starts. Barring injury, starting quarterbacks are going to hover around 23 to 22 first-round quarterbacks of the 32 starting in the NFL. So NFL teams want that pedigree under center. Very few outside that. There are the exceptions. We know who they are. Tom Brady, etc. We know Tony Romo was that guy. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins. But at the end of the day, it's a first-round quarterback-driven league, and I just think that's why Sean Payton allowed this to play out. He allowed Taysom Hill. He said, you know what? I'm going to give this kid a shot, and I know he hasn't named a starter.
Right.
I just assume it's going to be Winston. I guess that's what I'm saying. I think the starter is going to be Winston. I just think at the end of the day, he said, you know what? Let these guys play it out. If something happens where Winston falls and Taysom Hill really takes hold of this, then, there's no sweat off me. I'm just going to go with this guy. But he allowed those guys to play out. And not that Taysom Hill played bad, but 31 years old, I think they showed a stat last night, 134 pass attempts in his career compared to 2,700 for Winston. I just think that, to say that this kid's going to come in instantly and be successful, I don't think I shouldn't say it's not a capable thing. I just think your long 17-game year, I think Winston outshines Taysom Hill overall.
And I'm surprised that Sean Payton hasn't made the announcement, considering the fact that Taysom Hill, you can do other things with him. You can put some receiver gloves on him, put him out there at H-back, and have him catch some balls. You can put him as the wildcat quarterback when you get down into the red zone and have him run the ball. So I've been kind of interested to see Sean Payton's reaction through this whole thing, because I know how highly he thought of him.
And that's a great point, because he is so dynamic, helping them in trick plays, big plays. So, if you take him out of that role, if he's your best quarterback, then you have no option. But if you feel comfortable with the Winston, then, why not have Winston under center? Then you bring this guy who's so athletic, can do so many creative things and make big plays. So you just keep two elements that are, make you unpredictable to opposing defenses. So, I think it's just Winston's the guy. I thought he really handled himself well in New Orleans in terms of being demoted. First-round pick. You lead the league in interceptions. You look foolish. You go to New Orleans with your tail between your legs. You learn off Breeze and Peyton, and then you go into camp. You basically, hey, we're September 9th. We still don't know who the starter is going to be, and he hasn't done anything to be brash or anything. And that's, I just think he's a good teammate at this point, and I think Sean Payton as a head coach, and I think this for Taysom Hill too. Or any quarterback, Ian Book, the rookie out of Notre Dame. I just think anyone that's going to be under center in New Orleans is going to have a very sound mind and be able to execute the game plan that Sean Payton wants to execute.
All right, last thing for our friend Bo Marchant, collegetopro.com. Has the NFL figured out Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson?
Oh, they might have figured him out. But like Mike Tyson said, you might have a plan until you get punched in the face. I remember being in Baltimore last year when the Steelers were there. And the game came down to the final drive, and you kicked off or however they punt, and this Lamar Jackson starts coming down the field, and you're like, you cannot stop this guy. He's either going to beat you with his legs or he's going to beat you with his arm. But one way he's going to beat you. And they fell a little bit short. I think it was a controversial fourth down call at the end of the game. But, if they didn't figure him out, he's a special talent. And again, if you know what he's doing,
yes.
You can figure that
you
part
gotta
out.
Stop it.
We know Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to throw the football. We know Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are going to catch the football. You can figure that out. Figuring out how to stop it is a whole nother level. So I don't think though, and Harbaugh and crew, they're going to be right there with the best of them in the AFC.
Yeah, Lamar, you're not stopping him unless you injure him. That's the only way you're stopping him on the ground.
Maybe Bears, Dave's 85 Bears, probably. because they could have stopped anybody.
They would have.
I don't know if they saw anybody like Lamar Jackson.
They would have chewed him up and spit him out.
You know what, though? Yeah, but hey, these young guys never seen a defense like that. They would be like, whoa,
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Now,
Thank you, Bo.
Real quick, we do have to get to our NFC West quarterbacks.
I forgot about
Before we get out, I'll start with the absentee ballot here from Brett Norsworthy. He goes 1 Russell Wilson, 2 Matt Stafford, 3 Jimmy G, and then 4 Kyler Murray.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm exactly the same way as he
Jimmy
is.
G ahead of Kyler.
Jimmy G doesn't get the respect he should get. Jimmy G is not going to lose to Trey Lance right away. And I wouldn't be shocked if Jimmy G keeps the job the whole year. He was terrific in New England for a short period of time.
And also the way Kyle Shanahan operates. It just sort of seems like Jimmy G may be his guy.
I got it, Russell, Stafford, Jimmy G, and Kyler.
I go slightly different. I go Russell, Matt Stafford. I go Kyler Murray ahead of Jimmy G. Clearly the 49ers are trying to move on, and that tells you something about what Jimmy G is and what his ceiling is. And I think Kyler Murray, when we're talking about ceiling, it's unlimited what he can do.
Jimmy G has been underestimated now in 2 or 3 different positions. I think he's better. Real quick, Brian?
I'm the same as Gabe.
So you go Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Jimmy G,
yes.
Kyler Murray.
Yes.
Bo?
No, Kyler Murray at 3.
Yeah, I had Russell Wilson at 1. Go ahead, guys.
Oh, my bad. You were right. Kyler Murray and then Jimmy G. Were you, Bo?
I got Russell 1. I had Stafford 2, but then I said, you know what? I'm going to change it up. I think Murray takes another step. So I'm going Murray 2, Stafford 3, and Jimmy G number 4. And I'm the biggest Jimmy G guy there is.
Oh, you're not. You're not if you did that what you just did.
Hey, you know what? I always like to say the closer you are to something, the more you love it. So I always try to distance myself and try to be on the outside. So I don't want to be a homer. I don't want to be like, hey, but I love Easton. I mean, I love Jimmy G. I just think, and you guys mentioned it. I mean, this is Trey Lance's show. It's just a matter of time.
Yes.
And even if he played well, Jimmy G can't stay healthy. It's such a sad thing when great players cannot stay healthy. I mean, that's part of it. You know,
that is.
So.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But if they start off and they don't lose for a while, he's keeping that gig unless he gets hurt, I think.
You're exactly right.
Thank you, my
and
friend.
Shanahan, yeah. Hey, great week, guys. Stay safe.
Appreciate it, Bo.
You too. That is Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com, brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai, Genesis of Olive Branch. Beautiful building, and you go in there, and they are doing new things to just make it an even more cool experience. Like from the inside, and you go out to the lot. Now, they're like a lot of people. There's not as much inventory as we all would like, but there are still G70s, G80s, G90s that are attainable, and they are fantastic performing cars. I said before the G70 is the fastest car I ever had. I said before the G90, I think that is absolutely the smoothest car I ever had. And both those cars and all the Hyundais, they're durable because you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car, and they're going to take care of you. That's Chris True's whole deal. We got the product. Now we're going to give you the service, and it starts with a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package that is just terrific. I mean, they're going to make sure your car is in peak condition. They rotate your tires. They change your oil. They check your belts, and they check your levels on liquids. They just take care of you. That's why they're the step ahead. That's why they've set the bar for the way car business should be done. Just go visit Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. What is trending? We'll tell you when we come back.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Mid-South, get ready to enjoy your summer in style sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get all-wheel control system, pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, and 5-star safety rating with your 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SE. We Gossett $209 a month. Get advanced technology with My Pilot Assist, 7-passenger and fun to drive 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. We Gossett $229 a month. And they're all powered by our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. It's time to get your groove on at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Both 48-month leases, $10,000 per year, $750 loyalty rebate, $500 military rebate, $250 Allied Military CCRA Cross, NZ 003186, MSRP 27725, Outlander NZO 19057, MSRP 20080, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/31/2021, dealer stock only.
Southern Airways, we fly to make your day.
Memphis's hometown airline, Southern Airways, wants you to beat the Mid-South Heat and head to the Emerald Coast. Southern is the easy and convenient way for Memphians to get to Destin. Want to spend some time on the lake instead? Fly over the interstate traffic and bypass any delays and take one of Southern's flights to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Short flights and popular regional destinations like Arkansas's festival city of El Dorado and Harrison, Arkansas, the gateway to Branson, each have daily nonstop flight options from Southern Airways out of Memphis. Flying Southern is easy with no TSA screening hassles and free parking at Signature Flight Support. So if you're planning a quick weekend getaway, be sure to fly Southern Airways. Visit iflysouthern.com to reserve your seats today.
At Southern Airways, we fly to make your day.
CenterPoint Energy takes many steps to help ensure the safety of gas lines in your community and shares important tips like the following. A distinct odor similar to rotten eggs is added to natural gas. If you smell it, clear the area and immediately call CenterPoint Energy. Plus, always remember to call 811 before you dig or begin an outdoor project. Natural gas is one of the safest fuels. To find more tips, visit centerpointenergy.com/gas safety.
RS Financial Group and Orion Federal Credit Union present the 2021 World Championship Hot Wing Contest, August 28th at Tiger Lane, featuring the South Hall Cafe's World Wing Series. Earn a spot to compete for $25,000. Go to worldwingfest.com. August 28th, mark the date for the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival at Tiger Lane. Live bands, $10,000 in cash prizes, presented by Orion Federal Credit Union, RS Financial Group, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities of Memphis. Go to worldwingfest.com.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Tie game, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. Well, at FanDuel Sportsbook, you get more than one shot to swing for the fences because FanDuel, they're letting you place your first bet risk-free. That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. Check out FanDuel's new promo live every Tuesday, $5 Dinger Tuesdays. Place a $25 wager or more on any player to hit a home run on Tuesday and get a $5 bonus in site credit for every home run hit in the game. Ride the Cardinals and Goldschmidt and Arenado, or opt in on the Tuesday night promotion with Shohei Ohtani. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook's America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use, great odds on all different betting markets, fun bet types like same-game parlay and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel, they pay your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. That's promo code CASH at FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund and bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we wind our way through our Tuesday. Big show tomorrow. Looking forward. Ricordo will be with us. We make golf picks again. John Rahm really let me down. Did you see Patrick Reed, by the way, is out of the playoffs this time, and he's got a hope. They probably ought to make an exception for him. Like if it was Phil Mickelson, they would. Right? Yeah. But because he's not the best-liked player, like he and DeChambeau, they probably will not give the benefit of the doubt. Well, who do you think is less liked? Patrick Reed or Bryson DeChambeau?
I think Bryson, just because he's in the news more known. I guess if you're more known for being
Patrick Reed's been accused of cheating.
Yes.
Got kicked off a team.
But he's a quiet cheater. He's a quiet cheater.
I think Patrick Reed is actually less liked. But I'm not on the tour, so I couldn't really tell you. This breaking news, and then you got a few things you want to talk about here. But this just coming out. Ohio State will now require every student, so that means every student-athlete, faculty, and staff member to be vaccinated if you want to go to school, if you want to be on campus, if you want to go to games.
Wow. I'm there. I'm with them.
Yeah. And then, of course, that on top of the news today that LSU becomes the first major school that we know of that will say if you want to go to a game, fans, you got to show one of two things, vaccination card or
shouldn't it tell us
negative COVID test within 3 days?
Shouldn't it tell us something, though? The high academic standing universities, I know Ohio State's not necessarily incredibly smart, but the Ivy League schools, Vanderbilt, they're all telling their student population, their student body to get vaccinated.
You've got to have test scores to get into Ohio State. You can't
be a dummy. I get that. I understand that completely. So what I wanted to bring up, and you remember Wynton McManus, correct?
Yeah.
Played from 2012 to 2015, got to be there toward the end of his career at the University of Memphis. He was a linebacker.
Outside linebacker, right?
Yes. He was the athletic type of linebacker that Odom really loved in that defense.
Yeah, sure.
Last night, I don't know if you caught it, but he caught an interception in the end zone against Gardner Minshew. I wonder if that was the first time he ever played Gardner. No, he would have played him. They would have had a crossover when Gardner was at ECU.
Yeah. Can you imagine how dumb ECU is They basically ran off Gardner Minshew. And then they had this other kid, a freshman, that all these ACC schools wanted. He's from Greenville. And he came in the last time Memphis played East Carolina. I wish I could remember the kid's name. Look, if you can look up ECU's quarterback depth chart. And
right now?
Yeah.
Holton Ahlers?
Yeah, that's it.
He's been good.
Oh, but wait. So the year after Memphis played him, and that was his freshman year, true freshman year, he came in. I don't know if he even played all 4 games because you got 4 games, remember? He came in, and I was saying, I'm glad we're not playing these guys for a while because this kid's really, really going to be good. And then the next year they got a new coach, and he did not play that kid. And then the next guy came in, and he's been playing again.
ECU.
So Memphis will see him.
Back to Shane Carden, if you remember Shane
Sure,
Carden.
I do. Oh, yeah.
They have mismanaged the coaching situation, the roster situation.
They should never have let Ruffin gone. Let him go.
They were good then. I mean, they were fun. Going to play there, seeing their stadium.
Oh yeah,
they used to have a raucous crowd.
They were the first.
Now they're the joke of the AAC.
They were the first league team, and I don't remember anybody using a jumbotron as well as they did. They would start using their jumbotron 2 hours before the game to incorporate fans. Even on the outside, you could see it. It was brilliant. And it made for great unity and participation from everybody, and they were really charged up when that game started.
Arguably,
and they used to draw 50,000 a game.
Arguably one of the best fan sections that there was at that time in the conference. And I don't even think there was really much of a debate there. But we have an answer from Greg Sankey on the Alliance.
Oh,
we have a quote
the
from
SEC
Greg Sankey.
Is he shaking? Is he scared? Has he been moved? Is it emotional?
Absolutely not. It is it's very close to the vest. We have respect for each of our conference colleagues and look forward to our future collaborations. I believe we remain unified by our shared beliefs around the positive impact college sports on the lives of student athletes and throughout our communities. In the SEC, we are proud of our collective academic commitment and athletics accomplishments, and look forward to continuing to offer our student athletes great educational and championship opportunities in the years ahead.
The only comment that I have from that is, seriously, is that if this alliance didn't mean something, he would not have answered at all. He would have let it go. The fact that he responded to it with anything tells you, okay, guys,
I get it.
I see what you're saying.
But that doesn't paint me. That doesn't.
No, there's no
that
fear
quote.
here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that does not show me he's scared in any way of this alliance.
I never said that.
He's not threatened in the slightest by what they're doing.
But I do say to you that he is saying, okay, we recognize you 3 groups are making a point.
Yeah, you recognize it.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it means anything to him. I'm telling you, if there was a contract on a table that they all 3 signed, all these commissioners, I am certain that this quote does not read the same as it does now, because then at that point you have a legally binding alliance basically against them. At this point, when you just have guys saying, hey, are we going to align ourselves? And they say, yeah, and they're meeting at Applebee's like I mentioned earlier and having happy hour and sitting and talking about what the future of their conferences are. I don't think he much cares. I don't think he feels any pressure whatsoever. The fact that he gave a statement is more than I think even he needed to do.
Well,
I get your point. He's acknowledging it, but what does acknowledging it mean?
I think it means that I am aware that you 3 have bonded together, and you didn't include us, so there's a message there, and we see that. That's what I think it means. And it's clear that they decided to align because they view the SEC as a threat. And he's saying, we're not a threat to you. That's what he's saying. Read it again.
I'll read it again. We have respect for each of our conference colleagues and look forward to our future collaborations.
There you go.
I believe we remain unified by our shared belief around the positive impact college sports has on the lives of student athletes and throughout our communities.
And I'll tell you one other thing he knows. his games are better if there's a mix with those other conferences as well. He wants interconference with those three conferences. They did not say they were boycotting. This was nice play. This was, look, we're aligning together. We're not including you in this alliance because we don't necessarily,
you're good.
We don't necessarily
Okay.
trust you. And I think what he's saying is, okay, I hear you. We're not a threat. We believe in you. We know you got to be collegial because for the business aspect of it all, it only helps the SEC. If there are other conferences that are still good, otherwise, as we've talked about before, the SEC is going to be 20 teams that are going to play their own playoff.
I just keep coming back to the fact that I don't think the member institutions in this alliance are affected in the slightest. If the SEC reached out and they wanted to join the SEC, nothing is stopping them. And that's where I think the power structure doesn't change in the slightest. I still think the SEC has the ultimate bargaining power and the power in general.
I hear you, but I think it is significant when the most powerful commissioner responds to three other leagues and their commissioners bonding together and not including you in that alliance.
Did we see a situation where he wouldn't have said anything, though? With how publicized this has been, they're the only power conference besides the Big 12, but we know the Big 12 sort of on the out. They're going to be probably folding.
To me,
eventually.
the fact that he reached out is saying, I got your message. That's what I get out of that.
Okay. Well, I think he was going to say something, but
I don't know that he was. If there wasn't any significance to three conferences binding together in whatever it is, and there's nothing really concrete that you know of.
So you see it as acknowledgement, not necessarily saying that he feels threatened in any way.
Don't you think there is a statement that is made when three commissioners all get
of
together
course, I agree.
and exclude the other guy?
I agree.
And
yes.
the wording that he just said, hey, we respect everybody. We're colleagues. We're together. Don't view us as the outsider. That's how I perceive this. That doesn't mean he won't go after Notre Dame and Clemson and Florida State, but I do think that's why they did what they did. Mm-hmm. There's a point to an alliance that doesn't include the most powerful
there's also
league.
A point in releasing a statement that will be perceived by the public as, oh, we're all on the same page. You see what I'm saying? He's putting this out because he knows the public's going to see what he has to say. And he knows he's going to get asked about it at some point. He's going to release something not very substantive. There's not much there.
Oh, there's not much to anything.
But
I
don't know if there's like a message that he has gotten where he's like, oh, gosh, I get it now. I'm sorry. No, I think it's just I'm going to put something out there because I know I'm going to get asked this question in public.
Maybe. He certainly didn't apologize. But I think if there wasn't – I think there was a response that was some sort of acknowledgement that, you know what?
Yeah.
There's three groups that just got together that view us as a threat.
Right.
This portion of the show brought to you by James Davis. I was in James Davis because I got a wedding here in a couple of weeks, and I want to look good, and I know the place that is going to make me look the best. Thank you, Rob Joyner, is James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center, and guess what I got? I got the Stant. I got the Stant shirts. I got the Stant pants, and the only place you can get the Stant custom fit system, I promise you, is James Davis Men's Store. In the Memphis area, that's the only place to go get it. This is where 3 measurements for the shirts, 2 measurements for the pants, and now it's about 2.5 weeks later, you will find the best fitting, best looking, very reasonably priced clothing that you've ever put on. I was also looking over at their Toomey luggage because we're going to travel again this year. Man, that Toomey luggage is incredible. It's you talk about high tech when it comes to taking stuff and protecting stuff and looking good and wheeling the right way. No, nothing better than the Toomey stuff. And there's Rob Joyner there. He's been on the go with this store now for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, something like that. It always makes me feel welcome when I walk in the door. They do take care of you, and there is nothing like the high fashion, but in particular, the Stant perfect fit shirt and perfect fit pants, the system that you can only find at the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. We take a quick break. When we come back, my goodness, this show is already over. We've got to do Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Starts with Peter Edmonston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about that.
We call that a three-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
It's time to make this the summer event you've been waiting for at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. We got it all with 2021 Grand Cherokee El Laredo 4x4, $399 a month. 2021 Dodge Challenger XST, $398 a month. And 2021 Dodge Charger XST, $409 a month. Plus, get some serious performance in 2021 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4, $499 a month. And bring in your trade for top dollar and get a new Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat from Gossett. So drive past the rest, come for the best. Or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost financed through Chrysler Challenger Charger 75 months at 3.99 APR, all $49.99 down. Jeep Ram 48 month lease, $10,000 per year, 25 cents excess mileage. Cherokee MH16 1836, MSRP 44,235. Challenger MH603 214, MSRP 32,505. Charger MH602 256, MSRP 33,435. Ram MN8 19012, MSRP 59,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of our show brought to you by Memphis Public Golf. I played Galloway the other day, and I'm telling you, Galloway looks like it's a country club. I love the layout. Kevin Tucker did this redo years ago. And I mean, it's brilliant. And that makes me so excited because I think it's Kevin Tucker's assistant that is going to do the redo of Pine Hill. So get ready, October, November, play Pine Hill, because after that they're going to be redoing it. It may take a year. It's going to be something really special, the same way Overton Park is going to be. There is a belief by this city, and this is what I love, that golf is an amenity. And you got to really treat your citizens the right way and you give them some things. We love a zoo. We got a great zoo. We love museums, and we've got great museums, and that makes the city special. We've got great golf courses, too, and that makes the city special for those who love golf. And there's all kinds of championships still to be played, Audubon, Fox Meadows, Pine Hill, Galloway, and they're all going strong, and they're all in unbelievable condition. So while you can, get out and play a Memphis golf course. You will, if you haven't done it in a while, you will love the experience. It's Taco Bell Crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, high school. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Learned just a little bit ago, Cliff Branch and Dick Vermeil. Those names, I love Dick Vermeil. They are the finalists for the next year's Football Hall of Fame class in Canton.
Dick Vermeil's had some bad takes in the past year, but I respect him for the one championship he brought to St. Louis. What I learned today, J.R. Smith, yes, that J.R. Smith, played for the Nuggets, the Knicks, the Cavs, won 2 NBA championships. He has now been cleared by the NCAA to play golf at North Carolina A&T.
I love it. How old is he now?
Oof, that's a great question.
He's got to be 31, 32 years
35?
old. 35 years
35
old.
or 36.
And he's going back to school, and he's going to be a golfer at that level. Good for him. I mean, I don't think he's taking a scholarship away from anybody. So
he doesn't need
God bless him.
He can pay his
Let
way.
him go. Let him enjoy it. Let him take classes, too. I hope he's going to learn. That's the other critical thing I could have done with that. The big opportunity for Mac Jones, because I think Cam Newton gets sort of trying really hard to be a good player and just didn't know the rules, and now he's lost a chance here.
Doesn't work out. I could have done without the Tyler Skaggs case. The feds revealed evidence yesterday against former communication director for the Angels, Eric Kay, and they allege that he asked drug suppliers to deliver opioids to Angel Stadium for memorabilia and tickets, and he even messaged on OfferUp to drug dealers.
But that was the player coming to him. It's not like he
no
was pushing it
question.
on
But at the same time, he is the reason he ended up leading Tyler Skaggs to his OD death.
We thank Mike Keith. We thank Brent Beard, Jason Munns, and Beau Marchant. We're going to do this again on a big show tomorrow. That's for sure. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody.
Hey, Mid-South, are you ready to trade up to a Kia sales event at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
We're ready, Randy, with the best ride you'll ever drive. 2021 Kia Forte LXS, we Gossett at $249 a month. 2022 Kia Soul GT, it's ready to ride at $305 a month.
And Jeff Allen, I hear you've got American-made 2022 Kia K5, now $379 a month, and every Gossett Kia comes